obvious on this one. I mean, it's like, we'll catch the ball. Yeah, it's Travis Kelce. You're not putting somebody else in over Travis Kelce to catch the ball. He's not catching the ball.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice dropping the ball. He was where you quit throwing it to the other guys and threw it to him. Well, he's out there. He's dropping the ball. You know, do we have the Tranquil where I asked him about?
Yeah. It's if you look at the sheet, yours it's the response, I think,
to just what number, because mine hasn't updated. So
that would be, I think
there
is
now it updated.
14. Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I have 14? I asked Tranquil. Is my question on there?
Yeah. It's yours is the follow up. I couldn't remember if you asked the first question or not, so I wrote it that way.
Okay. I asked Tranquil why the defense has been inconsistent.
Well, it's just a play here, a play there, a call here, a call there, a mistake here, a mistake there. And they've compounded, and the cards have fell the wrong way this year. It felt like maybe we had some of those mistakes last year and we won those close games. But obviously when you lose and you're on the other side, the magnifying glass is on all those mistakes, on all the areas where things could have gone wrong. And so we just know we have to execute and make those big plays when those moments happen.
Maybe you're in the middle of it now, and this is too early to ask the question. Maybe it's look back at the end of the year, but you guys have played so much football beyond 5 and 6 weeks. Not just the games, but the extra practices. Even when you have a bye week, is there any chance that the team, the organization's just kind of worn out, and that's maybe a lack of focus on some drops or different things?
I mean, the team's new every single year, and so, for instance, like I was new a few years back, and so I don't think that obviously affected me at all. I think at the end of the day, we're trying to play for a Super Bowl every single year, and Coach Reed does a really, really nice job in the off season and even during the season of managing. He's been to however many Super Bowls he's been to and is an expert in that, and so he does a really good job of taking care of his players and staff, and so I don't see that as an issue or reason at all.
I mean, I think Andy Reid does. Mm-hmm. I also, if I were to, now after hearing that answer, I'm like, nope, you're in the middle of it. You're too close to it.
Yes.
Or you'd be like, well, you just don't like his answer. It's not that I don't like it. It's his answer. I'm not here to like or dislike. I don't agree with it. I think they are worn out. I think that is part of it. The one part that I will disagree with, it's a new team every year. Yes, from the standpoint that it's never all 53 guys that are back. So there is always change. But let's just play this game real quick. Howard Brown, 2 years. Xavier Worthy, 2 years. Rashee Rice, 3 years. Juju Smith-Schuster, since 22, minus a year in New England. Tyquan Thornton, in his second year, came last year. Nico Remigio's been bouncing around on the team for about 3 years. Jalen Royals, new.
Yeah.
Never active, but new.
Yeah.
Wanya Morris, 3 years with Wanya Morris? Esapole, new. Kingsley Suamatia, 2 years. Creed Humphrey, since 21. Hunter Norzad, this is year 2 for Hunter Norzad. Trey Smith, since 21. Mike Caliendo, since 22. Trey Smith, or I already did him. Juwan Taylor is in, year 3 for Juwan Taylor. Jalen Moore, new. Travis Kelce, since 2013. Noah Gray, since 21. Robert Tonyan came last year. Jared Wiley, in his second year. Patrick Mahomes, since 2017. Gardner Minshew's new. Kareem Hunt has been around the franchise since 2017. He's been back now for 2 years. Was here for about 2, but he's not new. Isaiah Pacheco since 22. Rashard Smith is new. Doesn't play much. And Elijah Mitchell is new.
Doesn't play at all.
Is that a new offense? In NFL parlance. No. Yes, I just named you the guys that are new. There are people that have not been here. And again, this is not to villainize, he's totally wrong. I'm just making a point.
Yeah, it's the key players who impact the offense have all been here for at least a couple of years.
Here's the defense. George Karlaftis since 22. Chris Jones since 16. Jerry Tillery is new. Mike Dana since 20. Charles Omenihu, this is year 3 for Omenihu, correct?
Yes.
Mike Pennell, off and on since 19. Derek Nottie came originally in the 19 draft, I want to say.
Something like that. 18 or 19.
18 or 19, but been around this team for a while. Ashton Gelati, new. Drew Tranquil is in year 4?
3. I think he came here in between the 2 Super Bowl. He came here after 22, so 3, 4, and 5. This is his 3rd year.
His 3rd year?
Yeah.
Okay. You've got better memories.
I just remember him. I remember him jumping out at that second of the back-to-back parades and running around.
Okay.
Saying how much he loved being in KC.
Nick Bolton since 21, Leo Chenal since 22, Jalen Watson since 22, Jaden Hicks, this is his second year, Brian Cook since 22, Trent McDuffie since 22, Chamari Connor since 23. We go to the backups. Jeffrey Bassa is new. Jack Cochran has been in Kansas City since 22. Cooper McDonald, a college free agent, is new this year. Josh Williams since 22. Mike Edwards off and on for 3 years. Noel Williams is new. Kevin Knowles is new and new in season. Mm-hmm. And then Christian Fulton is new. That's not a new team.
Nope.
I mean, in NFL parlance, and of the people who play,
the core elements are.
Josh Simmons would be the one guy who plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually new.
Yeah.
Right? The next closest thing are the handful of snaps that Brashard Smith gets on offense. You know, that's it on offense.
Yeah, and the 80 or 90% of the key players, the players that start and play a lot of plays, have been to each of the last 2 Super Bowls, and some have been to the last 3. So they've played additional 7 postseason games the last 2 years, and an additional 10 the last 3 years.
Well, and
more than half a season.
Of the players, you heard more names on the defensive side, but of the players on the defensive side, Ashton Gelati has actually played 316 snaps. I'm surprised it's that high. Give you an idea of what it would mean to be an every down guy. Nick Bolton's played 745.
Yeah.
So he's played less than half the snaps that are available. And then Noel Williams, the other rookie that actually has played significant stats, a significant time, Noel Williams has played 217 snaps. Again, Jalen Watson's played 744. Chamari Connor, 748. New? There's nothing new.
No.
And I think that is a mistake. But I think it's the result of going for it last year. Going for it last year and then saying, we're going to continue with Trey Smith and we're going to continue with Nick Bolton.
Yeah. And it's not only, as you mentioned yesterday, and a little bit on Monday as well, I think the fans look at the impact of going for the three-peat strictly on this season being 6 and 7. But as you pointed out, they're going to, if you think it's just we're a down year, we're going to go back to 13 and 4 or 14 and 3 next year, and just you can clean everything up in the off season, as Andy Reid would say. You're probably going to be disappointed because this isn't going to last just 1 year. I'm saying they can get back and be competitive and be in the postseason and win a couple games next year, but they will still be overcoming the things that were left from what they did a year ago through the end of the 27 season, at least.
Everybody practiced. That includes Trent McDuffie today. This was news we got. Trent McDuffie practiced. Everybody practiced except Wanya Morris. Andy Reid admitted it'll be a while. I think he's done for the year.
Yeah. Same.
And Juwan Taylor did not practice.
Right.
So you're looking at Jalen Moore and Seaboldt. And because Simmons is on the IR. What about Simmons? He's on the IR.
Yeah.
So he can't come back till the last. He would be eligible for the last game.
But we don't expect to see him again either.
If they're eliminated, I don't see why you would put him back out there.
Right.
So.
Or if 5 things had to happen, I still would be. It was one of those New Year's Eve 2006. I'd still be inclined not to risk it.
Yeah. So, like when I ask, is this team tired? Is it worn out? Is this a new team every year? I disagree. And I do think they're tired. They're worn out. There's a lack of focus. And I think, we talked about this. Sam McDowell pointed out that, last year they had the carrot of trying to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. What were they really going for this year? People in Buffalo thought it was a big deal to stop the Chiefs from making the Super Bowl so that they could be the only team, continue to be, I think they are still the only team to go to 4 in a row.
Yes.
So that they could continue to do that. I was trying to think.
Did the Pats do it?
They did. They had 3 in a row.
See, 16, 17. No, they didn't.
Yeah, they went to 4 out of 5.
It was like 4 out of 5, yeah. Missed
so
15.
I'll quote our buddy Eric Eager, fake trophy.
Mm-hmm.
You can have it.
Yeah.
And I'm not, that one didn't intrigue me. So the idea of getting to a 4th consecutive Super Bowl, Nobody mentioned that at camp. That wasn't there.
If you have to go make a banner, it doesn't really exist.
And I related this to being in the Royals clubhouse the day that they held their first official team meeting of the 2016 season, right, in spring training. Guys had been in there, but it was the first day that full squad was supposed to be in. So everybody had seen Ned and talked to Ned, but Ned was going to do his address the team. Here we go, going for the back-to-back. And I remember standing out in the grass by the little stretching field that they have. Looks like a little 60-yard football field there in Surprise. I said, well, what's the message? How do you motivate this team? I mean, I get what the motivation was last year. You were, 90 feet away from tying Game 7 and potentially winning Game 7 of the World Series. That's quite the motivator, and clearly you guys carried that forward. What do you tell the team that's now won it? And he said, well, of course, the goal is to always win the World Series, but I told him we got a chance to go to 3 World Series in a row. Only a handful of teams have ever done that. I was like, well, that doesn't even inspire me. Just standing here holding the microphone. I mean, I don't think there was a card to play.
Right.
And they had a camera crew filming a show, and I don't know if it was originally an ESPN production or if it was just a production company that sold it to ESPN after they had it. It was an NFL Films production is what it was. So it started out there. How it ended up on ESPN, I don't know. I don't know if it was always slated for ESPN or if it was just going to be NFL Films documenting what could be a historic season, and it turned into the Kingdom. But it was an important year. This year's what is important? It literally is just another year for a team full of guys with a lot of jewelry.
Yeah. The best I could think of would be, it was, I guess maybe the mindset was summarized by Isaiah Pacheco when he was in one of the press conferences they had down in Mexico. He called it the revenge tour. It was for him personally, but I think maybe if there was any kind of unifying force, it was to get Super Bowl 59 in the rearview mirror and erase that. They didn't want that to be the last thing that they had done in the postseason. Let's get back and say we're back on the throne. That was the only thing that I could think of.
That's what Isaiah Pacheco
get back on
said.
top.
Did it ever feel like that to you?
No.
Never did.
Never did.
Never did. They came out flat.
Yeah.
And we said, well, it's Brazil.
Yeah.
Like I mean, travel.
Ever since Xavier Worthy went out of the game on the third play until the ball went off Travis Kelce's helmet, they've been trying to recapture last year. And you get to the end, you look back, and you're like, it was never going to happen. The door was open the entire time. That team was never walking through it.
The Philadelphia Eagles were there to be had. Travis Kelce couldn't catch the ball that day.
Right.
That was the chance for the revenge. Okay, let's make the statement. We're playing this. Let's convince ourselves. They played better.
Yeah, we're about to go up 17-13. Nope.
0-2.
20-10.
The Giants were just god-awful.
Yeah. They almost begging the Chiefs to beat them. And for a half, they couldn't. They finally, flipped the switch in the second half, which seemed like the impetus for a comeback.
The Ravens' defensive line was all out.
Yep.
And Lamar Jackson got hurt somewhere along the line and wasn't really the real Lamar Jackson. But that's the day they played what was probably their best game, that or the Lions game. Yeah. Followed that up by giving away the Jaguar game. Followed that up by their best game against the quality opponent in the Lions. Best game overall in dominating the Raiders. A really good second half against the Commanders. And then since then, the Bills seemingly took it all away from them.
Sitting there at 5-3.
And at 28-21, that game was not as close as the final score appeared in the game in Buffalo.
No, they were beaten in virtually every fashion imaginable. You come off that Raider game at 5-3, and everyone, or the Commanders game, and everyone, you looked at the next day, they were the number one pick on all the sites for the Super Bowl, and Mahomes was a top choice for the MVP. And if there was a moment in this season where you thought, I'll be damned, last year's team showed up, and then it was immediately squashed, and they took one of the more discouraging losses you could have imagined into the bye week.
Drew Tranquil said it's a play here, it's a play there, and then it compounds itself. Well, you circle a play. You circle the play that you didn't. You circle the Travis Kelce off his hands in the Eagle game that's run back to midfield. You certainly circle the pick six against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it's really not one play. That's where you're kidding yourself. That's where, when we get to the end of the year and we start talking about what are the moves for the future, you're kidding yourself if you really think it was one play.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the reason why we keep saying, I'm a firm believer, if you want them to be the best version that they can possibly be in 26, losing at least half, if not more than half of the games they have remaining is probably the best bet. Not only for the obvious moving up in the draft, but because it does not allow you to convince yourself that you're just a play away.
Forces your hand. Because if the correct statement would be, it's a play here and a play there and a play here and a play there and a play here and a play there and a play here and a play there. You know, you got to keep repeating those words for it to, and that's every game.
They would make bad plays in all these other years. They just made so many more other good plays. It's actually a lot of plays. It's a lot of plays that haven't been made. There's the one that you circled that occurred at a critical juncture in the game where the score was close. But if you're up 14, then whatever mistake you made doesn't matter.
Or if you come back and, you know, make a bad play on defense and you drive the 80 yards for the touchdown, you're thinking about the touchdown. You're not thinking about the mistake that puts you in that spot.
Yeah, so
when you don't, all those plays get magnified.
I don't expect to hear anything differently. You're in the season. You're in the fight. You have to believe. You have to find a way to believe and make the next game important, which I think is really hard for a lot of these guys because they know it is. I mean, I feel like, you know, 2 years ago when they were going for the second championship, it was hard for them to get motivated for the regular season. I think part of their problem was, well, we've now won 2 titles. Like, it doesn't matter until we get to the playoffs. They got scared that maybe they weren't going to make the playoffs with that Raider loss. They finished it off, got in there, stayed on a roll. Last year, I think the undefeated nature drove them a long way. Like, the fact that they kept just kind of, once they got undefeated, that seemed to push them. And that was taken away immediately this year.
Yeah.
Immediately this year. And there was no three-peat. There was nothing special to shoot for.
Yeah. Before Sunday even happened, they were 0-1.
Yeah. So it's not one thing. It's a lot of things. You know, we mentioned this yesterday. Yes, they can draft better. Yes, they can do better in free agency. And they will need to. They will need to. We'll talk more in the future about some of the philosophies that are going to need to change, I think, from a team building. But it's not only all the games. It's also, I mean, how many lieutenants from the personnel department aren't there?
Yes.
I mean, from the early days of the Reed regime, Chris Ballard's the GM of the Colts. Brian Poles.
Ryan Poles.
Ryan Poles is the general manager of the Bears. The Titans general manager is one of theirs. Their cap guy is down in Tennessee. You know, there has been, while the coaching staff has remained almost largely intact.
Stunningly intact. The coordinators, every year we're surprised, but they've been getting them other places.
Yeah, Brett Veach has had to promote a lot of people from within, and there's been quite a brain drain from the front office part of the equation. So here we sit. Here we sit. We'll see what they do. There's no path that gets them into the playoffs with a loss to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because the Chargers could lose out from that standpoint and still
Yeah.
would have a tiebreaker against them. So if they lose to the Chargers, they're virtually out. I mean, the
craziest thing.
The Texans, I guess, could lose out.
Yes. Then you're looking at 5 or 6 things that have to happen.
Yeah.
Which is why, I mean, say again, which is why I think all the scenarios is you have to look at the first thing. Well, see, Chiefs win their last 4, and then bing, 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 bing. That's not too bad. Go back to the step 1.
Yeah, step 1.
Chiefs win the last 4. Hang on.
You're talking about
we need to spend some time on number 1 first.
You're talking about an 8-1 team. You're talking about a team that's won 4 in a row.
Yeah.
They haven't won 4 in a row at any point this year. So it's a big uphill. They won 3 in a row.
5 out of 6, I think.
Yeah, 5 out of 6 and 3 in a row. But they haven't won 4 in a row to this point. So
no,
we'll see.
And this will end the stretch, because we talked about this going into last week, that in every season that Andy Reid had been the Chiefs coach, he's had a 5-game winning streak. That was the idea going into this past week. Well, that's out the window.
Yeah.
So another thing's going to happen for the first time.
All right, grab a phone line, 913-810-810. Got a couple of folks waiting. Got a couple of lines open, 913-810-810. If you would like in on the discussion, we'll take your calls. You can hit me up on the Twitter. It's at Soren Petro, SORENPETRO, to hit us up on the Twitter. We're talking a little Chiefs football to get things started here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
Not particularly. 45 in a 32-minute
Saw your
boys
tweet last
varsity
night.
game last night. That's one every 43 seconds.
Was it a rough game
It was not a
between
rough game.
two arch rivals,
No, it was not a rough game.
or was it a ref that just wanted to hear his whistle?
I don't think Greytown South versus Shawnee Mission East has much of a history, other than I've done games for both schools. No, it was a lot of just flyby, a lot of stuff. Well, they're not letting them play tonight. Virtually any kind of contact. Beep, beep. It's like, come on.
Coaches lose their
Yeah.
mind?
I once did it. Yes, both of them, and the fans of both teams. And I once did a girls' JV and varsity, Raytown and Raytown South, where there were 100 fouls in 64 minutes. That's what happened last night. Was pretty close.
Yeah.
You don't usually see that many fouls in a boys' game or a varsity game. 40. That's the most I can ever remember seeing in a.
If you've ever thought
In a
about
boys' varsity
officiating,
game.
they need you.
They do.
They need you, one, because they need it just for all the games,
Yeah.
and two, so they can fire those who aren't any good.
Yes.
So, you know,
The ones who aren't good that are still there are there because they got no other. Because
There's no
they,
other
they need
choice.
them. If
Yeah.
they leave, they only got two guys. You don't want a two-man crew.
913-810-810, the phone number, 913-810-810. Let's go to the phones. Nick is waiting patiently. You're in the program, Nick. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, boys. Thanks for taking calls. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the fourth down play. It was in our side of the field. And I heard a lot of talk about, he should have punted it, relied on the defense. Should have done a different play call. I'm going to be that rare fan that defends the coaches here. It's like, eventually, the receivers are going to have to make a play and just get open. They understand the stakes at that point. Just go out, beat your man, get open, catch the ball, get the first down. And I would be curious to know, like, at the end of the year, if Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy were looking at their stats and, said, oh, gee whiz, I wonder how many of these catches and yards and touchdowns I scored where they were a bubble screen, it was a jet sweep, it was a pick play, it was some sort of play that Andy Reid and Matt Nagy are drawing at 4 in the morning, not to mention the 3 setup plays to get them open specifically for that play, versus how many just regular old-fashioned pass route, receiver routes that they run and get open
Yeah.
with their man on.
The offensive version of getting a sack while rushing 4.
Exactly. So it's kind of like you have players who, basketball players who can generate their own shot. Like, how many times are these receiving corps generating their own ability to get open? Or, Mahomes can identify, like, oh, look, he got open within 10 to 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. I will hit him in stride, and he will get a first down, and that's that. And it's just a regular, old-fashioned, boring play. But instead, I see the coaches doing a lot of heavy lifting to make these guys look good, and then they get up and they do the little fishtail thing with their hand in front of their mask, and they're flexing and stuff. Like, that whole play, that whole design was somebody specifically writing that for you. Like, what did you have to do to get open? It seems like everything is gimmick. Everything is like a lot of just Andy Reid in a lab drawing stuff up for these guys. It's like, what are these guys doing on their own to get open? And I'm just, it'd be hard to really go back and look at statistics, but it just gets frustrating that all their yards seem to be, they're fun plays to watch. I love watching it, but at the end of the day, it'd be nice for them to kind of pull their own weight once in a while. And that's all I got.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point, Nick, and thank you for the call, buddy. I appreciate it. I think the closest thing we've seen to it is the Rashee Rice slant.
Yeah.
Just like it's something they weren't running for a long time. Didn't run it really till they got Rashee Rice. And it's just a play where you got to beat a guy at the line of scrimmage. You got to be able to beat the jam. And you got to get underneath them because the quarterback is expecting you to be there. So no matter what, you've got to be underneath them. Can't go over the top because the quarterback will put it right to the defensive back. And Rashee Rice does a pretty good job of that. I'll be honest with you. I've always said that he gets underneath. He does what you ask him to do. And when you get the ball in his hands, then he is tough, right? He is a tough guy to bring down. But even on those slants, he doesn't. It's not a. I think of Devontae Adams. I remember Michael Crabtree used to just smoke guys off the line at Texas Tech. Didn't really translate to the NFL, but Devontae Adams, when he lines up there, and just within half a second, he can get the defensive back going the wrong way, and then he's underneath him, and there's a yard of separation. Now, Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
in their prime, it was so good he'd hit him right on the hands, and he's off and running.
But there's no arm coming in to swat the ball away because the guy was
Which is
too
what
far
you see
away.
almost all the time on Rashee Rice.
Yes.
In fact, a lot of times the first tackle he breaks is the one of the defensive back with his, if Rashee Rice is on the right side, it's the DB's right arm that he's got on his hip while he's reaching with his left arm to try to knock the pass away.
Mm-hmm.
And Mahomes has put it right out in front of him, and then the defender kind of slides down him, and that's the first tackle beaten. But a lot of times the first tackle that Rashee Rice is beating is one where the DB was as much going for the ball because he thought he had a shot at it as he is going for a straight tackle. And so I think that's where you're right. Like some of the numbers, there are plenty of analytics, and you can dial up. In basketball, it's called synergy. There are different things in football where you can. But let me look at every fourth down play of the Chiefs, and you can bring those up and look through that pretty quick. I mean, they've done a pretty good job of giving the fans the cut ups that the coaches get. But so you probably could quantify it to a degree. There's quick hitters. They have a category for that and all those things. But to your point, just the eye test. No, we don't see just an old school. Give me a 10-yard out on 3rd and 6, where the DB's on the hard back pedal because he thinks you're on a go route, or he bites hard on the inside, you turn to the outside, and then the ball is there. In fact, the ball is coming out as you're breaking, and you get the head around, and then the ball is on top of you. You catch it. I talked to the thing of beauty was Trent Green to Eddie Kennison on these 15-yard outs. And Trent would let it go when Eddie Kennison was going into the break, and he would fake to the inside or fake a go route, bust it off to the sideline. Ball would be right there. Kennison could catch it. Usually would get about 3 toes down because Trent had put it in the perfect place.
Mm-hmm.
Kennison had beat his guy. Tap, 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 out of bounds. It was like stealing.
Yeah.
And no, you don't see that.
No.
And whether that, I think that's something where in the offseason, a lot of time is going to have to be spent. Are we caught in our own minutia? Are we trying to get too cute? Do we have weapons that we need to just give Rashee Rice the chance to go hard off the line of scrimmage, put the foot in the ground, go to the outside, hit him right there, we'll steal it. It doesn't have to be some ornate play where we run a mesh concept across the middle and we've got another guy coming over the top and we've got a tight end shovel pass on the underneath where we could let's just get Pat the ball and 4 guys run routes, space the field so you're not all clumped up, but just somebody beat a guy. Or do they not know how to beat a jam? We know that's a problem for Xavier Worthy. Is Travis Kelce only going in motion? Sam mentioned this last night on our podcast. Is he only going in motion because you don't want him to have to beat the jam because he can't really do it because you need quick hitters? He's the only guy you trust, so you're running a motion so that nobody's set up to put a real jam on Travis Kelce, and that's all your motions become?
Yeah.
There are a lot of layers to this thing.
Because they don't have zone beaters, so you're going to have guys who can beat man coverage. The one thing
that's
about
where they're really struggling
when
this
they
year.
were in their prime, you wouldn't want to go zone because Patrick Mahomes would kill you. So if you went man, you had Tyreek Hill, who could destroy man coverage because his break was so fast. He could move, he could juke guys so quickly, and he could get deep. So they had guys you could beat them defenses whichever way they chose to defend you. Now they have their choice. If they can play zone, they can't beat zone guys, and they can't beat man guys either. It's almost a polar opposite of this offense, the passing offense when it was at its full height.
And we've talked about in the past the chunk plays that the Chiefs just are not getting. The only time they consistently make a threat downfield is when Tyquan Thornton is running the route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
but it's not turning into anything else. Unfortunately,
it does seem. I would wonder aloud. I'm not going to definitively say this because I do think that all the receivers that are on this team are better than Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney. But your targets: 83 to Kelce, 67 to Rashee Rice, and he missed the first 6 games. He's already second, so we know where they want to go with the ball once he's healthy. 62 to Hollywood Brown, 63 to Xavier Worthy, 34 to Tyquan Thornton, 35 to Juju. 26 to Brashard Smith, 31 to Noah Gray, 19 to Kareem Hunt, 19 to Isaiah Pacheco, 2 to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 1 to Nico Remigio, Jared Wiley, Robert Tonyan, and Patrick Mahomes caught his own batted ball. Are we spreading it around too much? I mean, is there like
That's
we talked about?
always been a thing with me.
I know
it has
you-
been for a while, at least since Tyreek Hill left.
I know the concept is you want everybody to be a threat. You've got to cover everybody because we will put the football to anybody. But they got away from that a couple of years ago, and it paid dividends.
Yeah, and I mean they didn't. Now they don't have that type of receivers, but Bengals.
Well, I think that's
didn't-
part of the problem is
I mean,
Travis Kelce can't carry the load that he carried then.
But like the Bengals don't spread it around. They've got two guys who they know they can throw the ball to, and at one point had three, but generally not any more than that. Maybe a tight end at four, but that's always been one of the things that I have disliked about the offensive philosophy of this team is that they seem too more concerned with trying to get everybody into the act. Everybody's going to eat, which is kind of came this year, but they've always had too many. There's no reason to have 7 different guys with a catch. You don't have to do that to have a good offense. You just have to have 2 or 3 guys who you know you can count on, and right now they don't have that.
You mentioned the Bengals. Let's just take a look at their targets. Bengals targets. Jamar Chase, 139. Okay, I'll remind you, Chiefs' top target is Travis Kelce with 83. And I'll remind you that Jamar Chase was suspended a game, too.
Yeah.
139. T. Higgins, 81. 2 less than Travis Kelce as the number 1
That's their
target.
second option.
And he's already missed several games this year as well.
And third on target, 68 for Chase Brown out of the backfield. So, yeah, they've got 2 guys that are the money guys, and they feature them, particularly Jamar Chase. I know what you're saying. Well, Rashee Rice isn't Jamar Chase. Oh, I know.
So you don't have to tell us that.
I know.
He's not T. Higgins.
I know, but I think you'd make the case perhaps that Hollywood Brown isn't T. Higgins either, right? And Xavier Worthy isn't T. Higgins. Those 2 together have 62 and 63 targets.
Yeah. I don't think
T.
Rashee.
Higgins has 81.
I'm not sure Rashee Rice is T. Higgins.
The 2 of them together aren't that far off the quantity of targets. They're not that close, but together they have 125 targets. T. Higgins has 81. Those 2 together have almost as many targets as Jamar Chase, especially when you consider Xavier Worthy missed 3 games.
Yeah. But Jamar Chase went 5.
I offered up as just a reality check, not necessarily a. I don't. What's better? If you gave 130 targets to Rashee Rice, like would this team be better? I mean, is it as simple as that? Rashee Rice doesn't get suspended. They're not in this situation. They win at least one of the first 2, and they're sitting at 7-6. And if that one is the Charger game, they're at 7-6, playing an 8-5 Charger team, going for the head-to-head sweep.
Yeah. And just looking to pluck a couple more and take the 7. Yeah, certainly possible.
I mean, the first 6 games
they were 3-3.
They were 3-3, which we thought was the magic elixir. Just get through these first 6, 3-3, then Rashee Rice is back, and you'll get on a roll.
Yeah, I remember saying very specifically, and I'll tell on myself, the NFL better get them in the first half because they're going to be hell on wheels in the second half.
And I think
they've been hell.
That's
but
to your
not
point.
On wheels.
Because after that, they won 2 games impressively against. They came off a win against the Lions, again secondary decimated, but they come off an impressive win against the Lions, and then they dominate the Raiders, dominate the second half against the Commanders, and it looks like all is right with the world, and they're going to roll. And it didn't get going. But the reality is, if they'd have had Rashee Rice and they could have found a way to beat the Chargers or Eagles, even if it's the Eagles, you're 7-6. All the tiebreakers we're talking about, you're a game better in the standings.
Yeah.
And you need 1 less loss on the Chargers in that formula to get yourself there. So, I mean, what's the moral of the story? I don't know. Don't draft at-risk players.
Right.
And that's one of them, I think. 913-810-810. Scott, you're in the program. What's going on, Scott?
Hey, fellas. Really enjoying, well, I'm not enjoying the discussion because I'd much rather be talking about whether we're going to be the 1 seed again as we have the last 7 years. But I am enjoying this discussion because it's something that my buddies and I have talked about, a lot this year. And I don't think Andy is a tyrant. I think he's an awesome person. He seems to be. But I do think he needs someone on his staff that will kind of tell him, hey, Andy, we need. And listen, man, he's a walking Hall of Famer. He's not going to change his ways or anything like that. But just the most alarming, like the previous caller mentioned the fourth down, and I don't mind it as a philosophy. And I really think with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, you should be going for as many first down or fourth downs as you possibly can, because he's a lot of times just going to make a play. But the fact that he just, basically said the other day he just goes by gut, and well, then your gut should have told you, no, this is a defensive game. Our defense is playing great. Don't do anything to, cause harm. Whereas in the Dallas game, we didn't have any chance of stopping Dak. I mean, Dak's going to score 30 at home regardless. Plus, they just driven up and down the field on us defensively as a track meet. So you want to go and be aggressive on those fourth downs. And so it's like, it's why I wish that he just had someone on staff to kind of help him understand, maybe some of the nuances. But, I mean, when we hired Andy 12 years ago, the big thing was his clock management and stuff like that. And you've done a great job of pointing out over the years, Soren, and maybe it wasn't his clock management. He's a better clock manager now because he has Patrick Mahomes and not Donovan McNabb, So that's just my, worry. Like you guys mentioned the wide receivers. There needs to be some new blood coaching the wide receivers. The Chiefs wide receivers have all been better, with the exception of Travis Kelce, have all been better their rookie years. McCole Hardman was pretty darn good his rookie year, and granted he got hurt, and maybe that's your deal. Xavier Worthy was pretty darn good last year. He got hurt. Well, we got to quit drafting small guys that are going to get blasted all the time, or and I realize the Jamar Chases are top 5 picks for a reason. They don't just grow on trees, but Rashee Rice, his hands have not improved, since he's been a Chief. And maybe he's just a knucklehead we've seen with his off-season behavior a couple times, and maybe he's not in there hitting the jugs machine. But, Rashee Rice, you could argue, has the 2 biggest drops of the year that are going to keep us out of the playoffs. And, at Dallas was a huge drop on a very catchable ball. And, the one on fourth down was less so. But then the one on the next fourth down was probably even better than the Dallas catch. I mean, easier to catch. And so I think there needs to be new blood coaching the wide receivers. But I just don't know, you can't, probably dictate to a Hall of Famer, hey, we need some coaching staff shakeup, because that never goes well. And B, because he is a Hall of Famer, I think Andy should be given the rope to fix things on his own. But I just, from an outside observer, and you guys know the inner workings of the coaching staff much better than we do, but A, do you think there will be some new blood? And B, if there is that going to be Clark, or Andy has self-scouted enough to,
Yeah,
anyway.
I think, and Scott, thanks for the call, buddy. It's always good to hear from you, my friend. Let me say this real quick, because I need a break, but I think you make a great point. Here are the things I've cautioned, and for 2 years now I've been telling you, Andy Reid is getting to the age where if you're the owner, if you're his lieutenants, you got to be watching. Is he starting to slip? He might not. I don't think Pete Carroll had slipped until maybe his last year or two in Seattle, and he got well into his 70s. Now, I think it's gone by Pete Carroll now, clearly. But I said, I'm not trying to villainize anybody. Everybody gets old. Everybody loses a step, whether it's your athleticism, that goes long before your mind does, but you'll start to lose. Doesn't mean you're incapacitated and need a padded room. It just means you're starting to slip. And this is a league where you have to be on the absolute cutting edge. So, yes, everybody around Andy Reid that he trusts and everyone that Clark Hunt trusts should be watching. Is he slipping? But I think there's no doubt it's stale this year. Now, is that because I mentioned the roster didn't turn over much? I think you need to turn over a lot of the roster. The coaching staff, yeah, it needs new ideas. It absolutely needs new ideas. Does it mean the whole coaching staff needs to go? No. But it does mean that I don't think that there's any way, and it's why I think the best thing for the team will be to not make for the long haul, will be to not make the playoffs, because it will force them to look in the mirror and see what's really looking back. And the biggest mistake, and when it comes to an end for a legend, it's when they start believing their own BS. And if Andy Reid is like, no, I'll fix it. I got this, I got that. Yeah, I watched the last 10 years of Syracuse basketball here, and Jim Boeheim was going to get it fixed. Just needed one more year to get it fixed, and didn't know how to fix it. It was eroding. He was buying his own BS. Great coach, but he was old and time to replace him 10 years ago. I don't know that we're there yet with Andy, but we might know it next year. Learning to fly, huh?
Yep.
You're listening to the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, taking your phone calls. 913-3810810. Let's get to Mike. You're on the program, Mike. What's going on, bud?
Hey, Soren, First of all, thank you for taking the call. And a quick question or statement.
Okay.
You mentioned right at the end about Andy Reid slipping. Can it be?
I mentioned the
8 years
the potential.
of-
I want to be clear. I don't want somebody who just got in their car
Yes,
to be like, oh, Petro said he's slipping. No,
Yes.
he's at an age where every year they should be watching for that. Just to be clear. Now
That
go
is
ahead.
correct.
Go and finish your
My
point.
question on this, certainly. What about fatigue? What about player fatigue and coaching fatigue? They've played a lot of football in the last 8 years, and that includes the Buffalo Bills have played and the Baltimore Ravens. And look at the downside of these teams this year. Are they just tired?
I think it's part of it. I think they're tired and they're content. Like I think that's why I think the lack of turnover in the roster, everybody's got some accolade. They've all, other than the draft class and like 2 college free agents, which is only about 7 players, and Jalen Moore and Christian Fulton, they've all played in a Super Bowl. And if I look back on the Niners, Jalen Moore, I think probably was in the Super Bowl 3 years ago. Didn't play probably, but I'd have to go back and look. I mean, being that he got to free agency. So, yeah, like I think they're a content team. I think they're a worn-out team. Do I think that's it? Circle the count. We've got it, 100% that. No. It's 5% there, 5% there, 5% for each of those. 5% is maybe Andy didn't, make as big a leap as he should have offensively. So schematically, they're a little bit behind. It's 10% personnel, draft, 5% free agency issue. It's all. But I don't think there's any way that after you put everything into a three-peat that you come back this year and go, we're just as jacked to get out there and play. No. I think it's absolutely part of the equation.
But Soren, the New England Patriots, when they were on their long run, their dynasty as the Chiefs are having right now, and again, I don't know the answer to this, did their roster turn over quite a bit year after year?
Yes, it turned over more than the Chiefs, and that's one of the things that they were, and I'm going to let you go. I'm coming up against the top of the hour, Mike. Thank you for the call. And I was looking at it like they won their first championship at 11-5. There was a lack of motivation. They went 9-7 and missed the playoffs in year 2. Then 14-2, 14-2 to win the championship. And then their wins after that, 10, 12, 16, 11-5 when Brady got hurt, 10, 14, 13, 12, 12, 12, 14, 13, 11, 12, and then 7-9 Tom Brady leaves, right? But you know what? They're the only ones. Like, that's not the expectation. That was doing something that no one had ever done, ever, and may never do again. That kind of long-term success. Family Leisure. That's where family and fun come together. It's the holiday season, people. For God's sake, go out there and do something for the whole family. Go to Family Leisure. Get the whole family a pool table, maybe a poker table. Teach your kid to play cards. If he can shark his buddies throughout his lifetime, it's important. You can play Scrabble or Sorry or Monopoly on it. That's what actually my poker table gets a lot more use with.
Right.
With that, it's like Categories. Is that one of them? There's one that my
Categories is
kids love to make fun of me
game
for being a moron and not being able to come up with things. We play that on there with Family Leisure. That's where we went. K10 and Ridgeview. Patio furniture, hot tub spas, pools, Gorilla basketball goals. Got my basketball goal there. I dunk.
No, you don't.
Well, I can lower it to 6'6".
Maybe then. Yeah, I could see that.
And I got a footstool.
Nice.
So
He
off
also
that,
bought a trampoline. And
I did buy a trampoline for family.
I'm like an individual trampoline.
Just
like
keep
what
those-
you use for.
Yeah, just keep those Achilles
vaults.
intact. You
I
gotta get in
don't.
Here.
No, I don't.
Just careful out there.
No,
You don't want a Daniel Jones. This thing.
I don't know that I've even jogged more than 3 steps in the last 10 years.
Okay.
He's a walker.
It's by design. I blew a calf out trying to get out of the way of some jackass on an airplane.
Yeah.
You think I'm going to play basketball? That's, we should get in an over. You should shut your mouth.
Safety first.
We're going to get in an over 50 senior softball league.
You have fun with that.
Yeah. You should rot in hell is what you should do, guy.
That's right. That's a good rebuttal to that suggestion.
I just want to walk.
I just want to be able to move around.
Like I don't mean like for exercise. I actually enjoy that now.
Yeah.
I didn't at first. I thought it sucked, but now I look forward to it. But no, I just want to walk to the car.
Right.
So I don't need to.
Walking is good though. You get
Nate
vitamin
Buchanan
D
can
in
go
the
play
morning.
soccer and
Does
hobble
Buchanan
around.
play soccer?
Oh, he does stupid stuff.
Showing off. It sounds like to me.
He thinks he is.
Yeah. Right.
He thinks he is. He clearly doesn't have mirrors in his house, but
Yeah. If I
if he
joined
knew how
soccer
bad he
league,
looks playing now.
I'd like to be the goalie. You just kind of stand there.
Coach. Call me coach.
Yeah.
That's me. Pete, you're not that old though. What are you 45, 46?
No,
What are we
younger,
talking-
believe it or not.
No.
Yeah.
What,
Late-
44?
Late 30s.
No.
Yeah.
I was like,
Still on the other side.
What?
you get in those 30s.
You seem older.
You're now
Thank
starting
you.
to
Well,
get.
maybe that's a compliment.
You're
That's
starting
nice.
to get. You're
Your
starting to get.
personality is-
You're starting to get vulnerable for like I don't look that old.
Yeah.
Like having those thoughts.
I look a lot younger if I would ditch the beard.
Really?
But I don't think I've been
Keep
beardless.
telling yourself that.
I haven't been beardless in years. I just don't look as good. And so I've been rolling with the beard, and now I kind of got like a thin beard mustache thing going on. I like it. I think it's a good look. Whatever.
I love the self-analysis.
I do
Yeah.
too.
The self-scout.
Yeah.
I dig it. I'm all right, man.
I just don't look
Are
good
the
without a
ladies
beard.
digging it, Pete?
I hope so. You'd have to ask them, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be important for them to weigh in on that. I'm not going to go there. You would hope so at some point.
I think if you feel good about the look,
Sure. Look good, feel good.
that confidence you project,
Right.
that's all you need, Pete.
Confidence is important in that department. The Kansas City Chiefs shouldn't feel too confident
Think maybe
about
we should go
anything.
here.
Oh, I guess somebody's tired of talking about themselves,
Yeah,
huh?
how about that segue? That's
Put
why
the
they call me
spotlight
Segue
over here.
Segue Sweeney.
That's what they call him. Pete Segway.
That's right. Petey Segue.
Segs. Hey, no Segs.
This Pete Sweeney segue is brought to you by Family Leisure.
There we go.
K10 and Ridgeview. So
Right.
family and fun come together.
Perfect.
That's where they segue. Family and fun segue. You go from one to the other.
Right.
So what do you want to talk about with the Chiefs? It's all the whole franchise is on the table. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, I just think it's been a very disappointing year. I think.
Should we have seen it coming? I think we should have.
I don't know. I go back and forth on this. You can only play in the playoffs for so many years in a row. I think a lot of times what has gotten look on the positive Andy Reid, and there's not a ton of it out there right now, as you can see on social media, is just simply making the playoffs. It's very hard to make the playoffs in the NFL, and the fact that they've been able to do it so many years, at a certain point, you're going to have a bad season. And I think in a way you should have expected it, but also I just find that this year has been so weird And I still feel this way, even despite them no longer having control, it being less than a coin flip that they're going to make the postseason. A few different things go differently in some of these games, and you could have 3 more wins, and maybe it isn't the division. You know, maybe you're still giving up the division, but I just think their playoff standing would be a lot better, and I think we're making a lot of, as a group, big jumps.
Tell me the games that they could have won. Because do you think that you're going to go to Jacksonville, you're going to go to Philly?
For sure, yeah.
But
I start there.
Don't you as quickly hand back the Colts?
I don't think so. I think I would keep them. I thought they were outplayed by Dallas. I think there were opportunities in the Denver game where they could have turned it around. The Bills, to me, that was a legitimate loss. Certainly the Texans game. I don't know. I do think changes need to be made, but I don't know about like sweeping.
I think any play you turn around, you at least give back the Colts. So you gotta find me 2 or 3 games, and do a pretty good.
I mean, I think the easy ones are Eagles, Jaguars, Texans, for me.
Yeah, I think the Jags. I think the Jags they should have won. The Colts, I think they should have lost. I mean, I think they kind of paid back. But if you want to keep the Colts, they're fine. The Jags is the only game that I go, yeah.
You got to find a game
should have had.
That, to me, that they were ahead, and they weren't ahead.
Yeah.
Against the Texans.
Most of the games you talk about with like the Eagles and Chargers it's like, well, if they don't like the Eagles, don't throw that pick. Well, but you weren't in front. You weren't going to go up 10. You were going to go up.
To go up 4.
A 7-point play. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
So I mean, to me, they are kind of what they are. When I say we should have seen it coming, the biggest thing is like, what was the motivation this year? They are finally. Last year, I don't think we realized how much they put into. We knew they put a lot into it, but they were all about the three-peat. And that there's nothing. Win a championship. Oh, for all the core guys, you mean like we've already done? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this one means more. Why? Well, because it does. No, it doesn't.
I think a point that would support your notion here also is we came into this season, I think, again, as a group and certainly the fan base, we just win in the big spot. You'd won 17 one-score games in a row, and it was looked at as a positive thing. But you could also be like, well, we've won all these games. It's been 17 one-score games in a row. And so when you're playing with fire, right, I think eventually you are going to get burned, and that trend continued, but now in the other direction.
I think they were razor-focused. One, I think the winning streak to start last year really helped them. Not just because of what it obviously did in the standings.
Yeah.
But I think in their head, they never really mentioned it, and it was only maybe the last 2 or 3 games of the 9-0 start that people started to ask about the undefeated season. But I guarantee you, at 2 or 3-0 as a player, you're like, win a third straight and do it with an undefeated season? Like, I think it was sometime during the 9-0 that NFL Films decided we need to get a crew over there.
Yeah.
And that's where the kingdom came from. Like, it's pretty clear when you watch that thing, there was about 2 sit-downs, maybe, if not 1 sit-down with Patrick Mahomes. And everything he says in that thing came from, like, 1 or maybe 2 conversations. Yeah. Tell by what he's wearing. First of all.
Right.
He sure likes that shirt.
And the who knows when they went to the caves. I mean, that's probably the bye week, to be honest.
It is
maybe,
interesting. I'm not exactly sure when the timing of that came about. Was it not before the season? I'm not sure. I'm just asking.
I didn't hear anything about it. I remember a couple years before NFL Films was there. I remember NFL Films having a pronounced presence several years ago at training camp.
Right.
Like they had something cooking. But I didn't remember that last year. Did you?
I don't. But I don't know one way or the other. You might be right about that.
Anyway, I just think that like when you're going for a 3-peat, when you're like, we can do something that no one else has ever done. Like that, I think keeps you sharp and focused. I think they're fat, happy, and a little bit older. I mean, I'm not villainizing it. Mm-hmm. It's just the natural. You tell me the hardest working guy is the guy whose bank account is fat and he's built the pool and he's got the lake house and he's 64 and has 2 grandkids running around. You're telling me that's the sales guy who's really busting his ass in the office? I will tell you, I don't think so. I think it's the guy who's 32, got kids, not sure how he's going to pay for it. College hadn't been paid, wants to have that lake house.
Yeah.
That's the guy who I think is probably like, I got to find a way to make some more money. right? Like they're kind of the grandfathers all sitting around and.
Yeah, I think we overlook it sometimes. There's human element in this, and it's been a lot of winning, a lot of success. A lot of times it felt like it came easy, and the NFL is a never-ending product, right? You get sort of have to put in that work across the board every year if you're going to maintain that success. And naturally, when you think you have a lot of it, yeah, I mean, you can certainly take your foot off the gas pedal.
And someone, we've put a lot of stock into the idea, and I think it's been true for the most part up until now, the impact of that mindset with Patrick Mahomes, that he's the competitive brick, he's this, and that he is never going to be in a spot where he's not hungry. That would permeate through the rest of the team, and I'm sure at times it does, but there's only so much that one guy, as big as he is in that organization, the idea that the entire team is going to have that same attitude after they've experienced some of the highs that he has is I think, asking too much.
Yeah, I mean, I could just go back to Sunday, though. If you take a step inside this locker room, it was death.
That's what everyone says.
To think that this energy that they had or lack thereof in the locker room after, and that they didn't care in some capacity. I mean, it felt like it hurt.
They care. No, I don't think anybody is.
Clarification here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I don't. I was going to say I don't want to make it sound like I'm mad at you.
No, don't. Say whatever you want.
But I think that's just the natural. Is like you just took what we said and went clear to the end. Mm-hmm. They're not as motivated.
Yeah.
Not that they don't care, right? I think they definitely care. They're all the core group are all competitors. I just think it's, like I said, it's impossible to be razor sharp focused when you have almost everything you've ever wanted. Yep. How many people sat back and said, I've got to have 4 championships, especially Travis Kelce, who spent a lot of time here with none, with a team that could get to the playoffs and never even really threatened. Even when they did threaten to win the game, you knew, like, well, if you're playing with your food with the Titans and that jackass, who's the back? They played him this year, the backup quarterback. It was the Titans quarterback that year.
Yeah.
The Heisman Trophy winner, for God's sake. Marcus Mariota.
Correct.
You're playing with your food with Marcus Mariota in your own building. Like, even if you get by there, you're not going anywhere. Right. So, that was his lot in life. And now, 3 championships, 5 Super Bowl appearances. Oh, and the most famous woman on earth is engaged to you. Oh, and they're giving you your half of $100 million on a podcast. Like, what? I gotta have it today. I gotta practice. I gotta make this outcut. My ass. There's just no. It's impossible.
And for being the guy that everyone says, Pat's the leader of the team. That in practice in the camp, Kelsey's the energy of practice. If he gets to the point where he isn't that guy anymore, does that have a ripple effect throughout the?
How about this one? Again, and I will travel on sacred ground that I think I'm very well known to not let people come anywhere near. I do think Patrick Mahomes is the most competitive person maybe in the entire NFL, but we spent a lot of time going like, what's amazing about him is he's just as competitive as Michael Jordan, but he's not a prick. They talk about, he's a competitive prick. Oh, yeah, he wants to fight, but he's not making things up about his opponents, and he's not, humiliating his teammates in practice, which Michael Jordan did. And you know what? Maybe that is. He's not as competitive as Michael Jordan. And no one should be.
It's okay.
The only guy more competitive than Michael Jordan was Napoleon, right? Like, he's one step away from being a global lunatic. I don't know. Like, maybe it's just like the human, the manners and the, his all the great things about him as a person actually is a sign that he's just not quite as competitive as the greatest competitor of all time.
By the way, Napoleon not unbeaten in championships,
right?
But I do give him the edge because he was only 5'2",
something like that. Yeah.
I think Mahomes isn't in the tunnel playing quarters with the janitor competitive, but on the field, I think you talked about NFL films when they pick up when he's on the field, and
I agree.
I think but
I'm saying
it would be tough to be the most competitive person.
He may be the most
time.
competitive player to ever play in the NFL, but I now believe Michael Jordan was more competitive.
Yeah, I mean,
which was like, that's it. That's the only guy I'm going to give it to is him.
There's one guy in
we found sport. A guy. I'm now convinced. Yeah. But even that's like because let me just tell you, the problem is not Pat.
No.
Yeah, I will stand there.
You should have that on the buck stops here.
It's not Pat.
The problem is not Pat.
It is not Pat.
It's not Pat. The opposite of the SNL. It's Pat. It's not Pat.
It's not Pat. I will assure you of that. But
Pat, his numbers weren't great on Sunday, but man, there were like 7 drops.
He said it's the greatest.
I said it might be the greatest no touchdown, 3 interception performance in the history of the league.
It's like
he didn't have any help.
None,
and
except for on the offensive line, who somehow
miraculous,
other than Mike Caliendo, warriored up and
performance. Yes,
by the way,
brought it.
We sat at Arrowhead one night and watched Tyler Palko have a no touchdown, 3 interception game, and those 2 games were not similar.
I think, but like also comparing the NFL to the NBA, the NBA you could take over a game.
Yeah, he needs more help.
NFL you can to an extent, but you can only do so much.
Yeah,
right.
At some point he does have to pass.
And it is a difference in sports. Like
usually,
even
for any one game, like for a season, there's nothing more important than a quarterback. But for a one game, Michael Jordan controls more than Patrick Mahomes.
Right, or like the bottom of the 9th. What if you were one of the last 2 or 3 guys to hit?
Well,
you may not see it that bad.
Maybe the greatest individual performance a Royals players ever had in a baseball game was George Brett, game 385 LCS. But even that was just a number of other things had to happen, or else it would have been all for naught. You can only take over a game so much as a position player, and
so
as you get further away from basketball, it's just tougher and tougher.
I know we talk about the NFL when I come up. That's a great thing about hoops. Like it is fascinating to see some of these NBA and sometimes college players just say, "No, we're going to win today." It's not possible in other sports.
And he's come as close to it as anybody in football has, and just blanket, I'm going to win this game.
Yeah. In one game.
It's hard, but it's hard. It's hard to do.
The first 6 years or 7 years of Michael Jordan's career show that just him wasn't enough.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. But for any one game, him and the 4 of us, he could get it done. Mahomes can't do that.
No.
Right. But I don't know. I think it's many things in the making. I don't think anybody should be mad. No, there should not be any villainization of Andy Reid or Brett Veach. They've done things that I wouldn't have done, but all in the interest of, I think what we're seeing is them pay the bill for trying to win 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think to them it was worth it. They actually did something that no other team has ever done. No one's ever been back to the Super Bowl after winning 2, but there is a sour feeling when you do come up short, and then you follow it up with what we see from a lot of Super Bowl runner-ups. There's a fall-off hangover type of season, and this hurts and sucks, right, for fans right now, but I think they'll be more defined by how they respond in 26, 27. Can they, and years down the line, you may say, look at the Rams, right? They won a championship and kind of fell off, and now they're right back. And so how do you respond after what is a very disappointing season?
Part of the reason why the Super Bowl losers don't tend to do as well as Super Bowl winners is because they're not as good. But there is something to what you're saying as well.
Yeah, for sure. More with Pete Sweeney is brought to you by our friends at Family Leisure. They're at K10 and Ridgeview. If you're looking to build that ultimate man cave, you're going to have the big setup to watch the big game. Then how about some theater seating? Maybe a massage chair from Family Leisure. Like I said, if it involves family and fun, there's one spot in Kansas City. Locally owned and operated for more than 25 years. Mention 810, save even more at Family Leisure. Online at familyleisure.com.
The program with some.
Or answer, how many quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl wearing the number 9?
Well, Jim McMahon.
Mm-hmm. He was the first.
Matt Stafford.
He was the last.
So there's at least 3.
Mm-hmm.
Or, well, I guess not at least 2. So maybe there's more. I'll say 3.
There are 4.
Damn it.
Now fill in the 2 in between.
There's 2 in between.
One's in the Hall of Fame. One is like, oh, yeah.
One's in the Hall of Fame, and he won it after Jim McMahon?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
He won it in the same... He played in the same building in which McMahon won it, but didn't
He
win
won in the
Super Bowl.
Superdome. Oh, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
One of them also played here.
Won a Super Bowl wearing 9, and he played for the Chiefs?
Later, after having won the Super Bowl.
What am I missing? Oh,
Giants?
Nick Foles?
Nick
He
Foles.
played here before.
I thought he played here after the...
Was it? It was after. You're right.
Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick
Two
Foles.
2 others have started and lost.
Joe Burrow.
Yep, who was 29 today. That's talk about a guy who thought he would have
That flashed.
been back. Yes, it did.
Shoot.
I noticed he's the only guy. He's one of only 2 players to be named Comeback Player of the Year twice. Chad Pennington is the other, but he's definitely the only guy to be Comeback Player of the Year twice and finish in the top 5 of the MVP twice. And he's not even 30 yet. That's a roller coaster.
Lamar Jackson.
No, he wears 8. Oh, you mean
Who's the other guy?
the other guy?
Joe Burrow, and who's the other 9? Nick Foles. Never mind.
Yeah,
I thought you were still going. I tuned you out.
The other 9 who lost was Steve McNair.
Oh, okay.
So he had 4 winners, 2 losers. Burrow 29, but I just noticed. I was like, I could have done one of 2 different questions. Not even just turned 29. And he's already been in top 5 MVP twice, been to a Super Bowl, but also been Comeback Player of the Year twice. That's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And when he's on, I mean, you're like, phew, that looks pretty
Are you
good.
a Burrow fan?
I like him a lot.
Are you a Burrow fan?
I don't like.
I like Joe Burrow.
I like Joe Burrow. Did you watch quarterback this time with him?
You're
Yeah.
not.
He's intense.
Yeah. I thought he seemed like a likable guy.
Yeah.
Like, there's a guy who's in the news today that both Kurtis and I are big fans of, that everyone around here hates.
Yes.
You know that?
Joe Burrow?
No.
It's close.
Close.
First 6 letters are correct.
He's
The first 5 letters, I mean. I think. If we're talking about the same guy.
no, I'm talking about Phillip Rivers.
I'm talking about Joe Buck.
Joe Buck.
I'm not a huge fan of Joe
I
Buck.
love Joe Buck.
I don't hate Joe Buck, but
I
I'm
think
not a
he's
huge
terrific.
fan.
I love Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers.
Rivers, yeah.
Love
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
I think the whole story is pretty cool. I think the tournament this year probably won't include the Chiefs, but I just think it's going to be fascinating to watch who emerges as for the Super Bowl. Because I feel like the AFC. We talked a little off air. I feel like the AFC is wide open. The NFC seems to have 2 or 3 teams that it'll come down to. But man, I think anything can happen in the AFC.
I think we may have to start coming around to New England and Denver are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel
But-
better about New England for one. I think I will have a little bit more. Well, he's a year younger than Nick's. I think it's Drake May. They both their second year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
May seems to have fewer holes in his game than
Chiefs
than
fans
Nick's
should be
does.
rooting
Well, that's
for New
why he
England
was-
to an
that's why-
extent. I mean, if this impossible thing's going to happen, they're going to need the Broncos to beat the Chargers in Week 18.
Yeah.
So
I've been saying for a while that I think the
Gotta pull for
Broncos, with so many the close wins, the first team ever to have 4 consecutive wins of 3 points or fewer, first team ever to win 5 straight road games by 3 points or fewer. They seem like a team ripe for that divisional playoff. Holy crap, the 95 Chiefs, 97 Chiefs type loss where somebody comes in there and just derails their season in 1 3-hour period. I will not fall out of my chair if Buffalo goes there. Somehow they end up with it in a 6-2. They go to Buffalo, goes there, and Josh Allen just puts it on them, and they get after Knicks and they lose 27-10. That won't shock me at all.
Well, I think that's the point he's
Yeah,
making,
that's what I'm
isn't
saying.
it?
yeah, it's tough. I just think when you look at Denver, New England, yeah, like Bo Nix at times looks lost, and I look at New England, and I respect New England. They're on this crazy win streak, and that's what I really am interested in seeing how they do against the Bills this weekend. Say, because of their schedule, it's been hard to I know they've won all the games, and you can't say the same thing about the Chiefs, for example, but just haven't played a ton of tough teams. It's been a lot of struggling teams.
And was that win at Buffalo that made you go, oh, wait a minute?
That's one. That's the one, and I think if they can repeat it, they'll gain a lot of respect.
I think if they just play them tough.
Yeah.
But the 99 Rams came from nowhere, and their schedule was a cakewalk.
Right.
For sure.
And they did almost get caught by the Titans in the end, but they took it all the way there. So
they were down to the Bucks at home.
You can only play as in front of you.
6-5.
Yeah.
It's a cliche, but it's like they're not picking their schedule now. I mean, you have to play who's in front of you. They're taking care of business, right? So we'll see.
No.
This will be interesting on Sunday.
I'll tell you what, if I have to go through 10 more years of the Broncos and Patriots top the AFC, I'm like, didn't we already do this?
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't think Bo Nix is
No.
going to give him that kind of success.
But I
don't think Sean Payton's hanging around that long either.
But I just got that. Really, the Pats had Brady for almost 2 decades, and they were down for a couple of years. Now we back up with Drake. Maybe they're going to win 4
I agree.
It's like, come on. They didn't suffer long enough for the gift they got for 20 years.
I think the NFL could have helped us out a little bit by somebody hiring Mike Vrabel.
Yes.
Oh, what is that?
What?
There are like a couple of moments in sports where I'm like, what was the rest of your league doing?
Yeah.
One is Vince Wilfork being there for the Patriots to take. I'm like, how is somebody going to take this guy off the board before he goes right to the guy who will use him perfectly? That, and the other one is, how is Mike Vrabel available to go back and fix the Patriots? Like the Jets deserve themselves.
Oh, yeah.
The Jets messed that up.
The Jets should just be grabbed by the hair and dragged out into the Atlantic, drowned, put out of their own misery.
They haven't been in the playoffs in over a decade. I think they got the biggest drought right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were officially eliminated this past week.
Their owner is quietly awful. Right? The Browns owner is flamboyantly awful.
Ambassador Johnson is
he's awful.
Okay.
You disagree?
No, I don't.
You were a childhood Jet fan, weren't you?
Nope. I was on the other side of it.
Oh, you're a Giants fan?
Fortunately, so couple titles.
You think he's a good owner?
No, I don't. No, I'm not a Jets guy.
I think the Aaron Glenn hire is maybe the worst hire of all time.
Gerard Mayo last year.
Gerard Mayo.
No, Gerard Mayo actually can coach a little. That team was awful.
What about the Giants hiring of McAdoo?
Gerard Mayo, and they also blew him up after 1 year. When they had a chance to go get Mike Vrabel, they went, okay, you're out.
I got one.
But the Aaron Glenn, like you just had Aaron Glenn.
Right.
You fired Aaron Glenn.
That's an interesting part of it.
And then you hired Aaron Glenn. I mean, what's it? Robert Saleh. I mean, it's like, okay, you had the hotshot coordinator with the hot team who had the hot offensive guy, and you got the other guy.
They also made Aaron Rodgers look completely done and cooked, and you didn't really think that he would ever have success again. And not to say he's going overwhelmingly good in Pittsburgh, but they're making it work to at least get him in the playoff picture. You know,
well, Mike Tomlin can coach,
right?
Nathaniel Hackett was pretty bad, but they didn't have him and then bring him back either.
But the on paper hiring of Nathaniel Hackett was not a disaster. It's just when you saw him,
you went, oh.
When I likened him to an admiral who's taken the fleet out in Pearl Harbor and turns his battleship and fires into the side of the carrier with his decision to drain the clock to kick like a 66-yarder was like, I'm like, remember when Mike Rice argued with me? I'm like, fire him right now. He goes, you're not going to fire a guy. I go, if an admiral did this, would you entrust him with another fleet?
You were
the
first one in line on that one.
You just sank your carrier in the harbor.
Yep.
We're not giving you another. Oh no, we're going to learn from this. That
was one of your better calls.
You're categorically stupid. Like he must go and must go now. He's like, oh, you can't, but you sure can.
Yeah,
you sure can fire him.
You absolutely.
You're the owner. You should.
And now you're seeing why they should have, or why they were right to do it.
I mean,
you see it all the time. That's why, and this isn't just for Chiefs fans, and I know that it is a minority that's saying, move on from Reed. I mean, across the league, you see it all the time. You hear these fire Tomlin chants. Speaking of Tomlin, Careful what you wish for.
I agree with you on that. I do think there comes a time where it's not that the coach can't coach.
Yeah.
Like, do you believe that Andy Reid meant? We did the first interview with him when he came to town, and he said, the way it ended in Philadelphia. He said, look, 14 years. He said it was the team needed a new voice, and I need a new team.
Yeah.
I think he said it. I don't think it was a PR. I think he meant it.
Right.
I think he believed it, and I think he was right. And I think you get there, and they might be there with Tomlin, right?
Sure.
And I think it's fair to ask the question, like, do we definitively know we're there with Andy Reid in this franchise? No, we don't. But if I told you, you got to bet you don't have children, so I can make the statement because you don't have kids. You got to bet your children's lives.
Right.
Right, because I hate it when people do that. Like, why would you even talk like that?
No, I get it.
But you don't have kids. So would you bet your children's lives on the fact that it's absolutely not over here? Like, it's not going to be over in the sense that Patrick Mahomes is not going to fall off a cliff. They're going to be, but this is like Patrick Mahomes finishes his career moving forward, kind of Phillip Rivers-esque. Mm-hmm. Some playoffs, most years, never back in the Super Bowl. Like the brilliance of it is over. Would you bet your children's lives that's unequivocally not the case? I wouldn't.
I have no children, but I would not bet my cat Carmela Anthony. I would not risk Carmela Anthony Mella on Andy Reid. Not for sure being here. Yes.
There you go. Because it's possible. I don't think it is, but I'll tell you what, if they go into the offseason and they just kind of tweak a couple of things, then I think it's over.
Yeah, I think he wants to continue to coach as long as he can with Patrick Mahomes here. But this has been a trying year, and I think when you have a trying year like this, sometimes your mind changes in some capacity. Mm-hmm. So I would bet, again, I don't know what percentage I'd put it at, 90-ish, that he's here, of course, and moving forward. But I do think when you have a year like this, it does open your mind up to other thoughts. And
yes,
you can't say that that isn't the case in 2025. Yeah.
This proves two things. One, necessity is the mother of invention. And two, complacency. Success breeds complacency. Like, they changed almost nothing from last year's team. And like you said, they were on the razor's edge week after week after week. And they're like, no.
Right.
Just keeping the band together. Let's go. And now they've come back in and be like, okay, we needed to change some things. So if they just keep it together, you're going to have diminishing returns. Now, those diminishing returns might equal 11-6 and back in the playoffs and then a quick exit, but it will be continued descent if there are not some wholesale changes made within the organization. And I don't necessarily mean Brett Veach and Andy Reid, but I mean, like, okay, the wide receivers are an issue. Either there needs to be a coaching change,
right,
or a number of different wide receivers that are different. The offensive line has been up and down. There either needs to be some tweaking there or a different coach there. Love Steve Spagnuolo, but how many times, like, there was 1 year that he would play anybody young. One, and it's because they burnt the boats. There were no other defensive backs to play in 22.
Right.
You had to play Trent McDuffie. You had to play them. But what has taken so long? Ashton Gelati, I don't think is ever going to the Hall of Fame, but he provides more than Charles Omenihu does.
Some juice.
And so what has been going on? Noah Williams got into the game. We sat there in my house. Oh, God, there goes Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
Fine. It wasn't a problem. How we keep it? Noah Williams, you got to know the system and all that. Or dumb down the system and put the guy who can cover somebody out there. Like, that's got to change. Somebody's got to be like, okay, we're giving you $6 million a year, Steve. Like, you're the highest paid guy. We've let you know we believe in you. And now I'm telling you, you're going to play this guy. When I draft him for you, I'm not going to take all these picks and have him sit there and watch all day.
At a certain point, too, I think what is lingering defensively for this team is those performances from Chris Jones. I mean, he is getting older. And
$49 million against the cap next year.
What does this defense look like when Jones's production, as we're seeing, it's declining, and eventually he's going to be done. And you need for Spagnuolo's system to work, you need an impact player somewhere up front.
Or, and I'll give Seth Kaiser credit, last week one of the things he wrote about was that the Chiefs run the least amount of stunts of any defensive line. Yeah. And why do they do it? Well, one is apparently, and you can watch it, I know it's true at least some of the times, a little duck, duck, goose for Chris Jones to decide, everyone's standing there, well, where's Chris want to go? Like, he's just given, free reign to pick who he wants to rush against. And you're not stunning there because we want to give Chris a chance to win.
Yeah.
Or at least draw the double team. Well, if Chris isn't there, they lost Trent McDuffie. They had to scheme a little.
Yeah.
They lost their left tackle. They had to scheme a little.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a hell of a job in protecting Pat last week. Well, take Chris out and scheme a little. I remember when he was down for 2 or 3 games in 19.
Mm-hmm. Early on.
And Eager and I dubbed it 2 fatties and a blitz. Mm-hmm. They played Pinnell and Noddy, and then they had different blitzes. And they were fine.
Yeah.
They were fine. In fact, they were better. They were statistically better during that time. So, I think there is a little bit of this, quote Kevin Harlan's little drop, well, this is what we do here.
This is the way it is here.
This is the way it is here. This is what we do. No, it's okay. You can be a little different. And I think they need to go in and be like, all right.
I think that's where I'm at too. I think we're in agreement. I don't feel like there necessarily need to be wholesale sweeping changes, but there are certainly things that can be done, as you mentioned, coaching staff wise, maybe a little bit of different personnel, drafting different types of players. It feels like they keep drafting the same
more
types of players and drafting more. Yeah, you always make that point. But yeah, little things, and you do some minor surgery here.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out the cap. Pat's going to get done. What does that open up? And then I think you're okay. I don't think this is a complete rebuild. I think it is a team that needs a jolt, and perhaps not making the playoffs for one season will give you the jolt you need to make some of those changes.
I don't think it's a complete rebuild, and their cap situation is bad. It's not quite as bad as it looks because everybody in the league will tell you that in 27 there's a big jump that's coming. They're already making bigger jumps than they thought, but part of the reason these contracts are backloaded is they're all expecting. I don't remember if that's when one of the TV deals is up and they're expecting a big spike.
Right.
And so, but if they don't start doing some things, they are headed towards the Drew Brees, Sean Payton end of the Saints. They've continued to try to tape it together with Derek Carr, and they finally now are going to have the bloodletting they need to have. Mm-hmm. But it's gotten so bad now because they wouldn't go ahead and do it. For me, I do think they need to do some cap surgery this offseason so that you are in as good a shape as you can be for ages 32 on for Patrick Mahomes. But if you put everything into being as good as you can be when he's 31, 33, 34, you're going to have a pissed-off quarterback.
I think they'll be okay. We've had conversations.
And those are his ages that I'm using, not 20, 33.
Right. You get to, when the Chiefs have gone to the Super Bowl, they really open up the staff. So we've had some conversations with Chris Shea, for example, that cap specialist. And, the conversations that I have, they're always trying to think ahead. And I think they'll do some of that cap surgery as you're describing. Like I said, this sucks. I understand everyone's disappointed. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think you're going to miss out on the playoffs this year. They're going to try to figure it out. They are going to make a couple changes that they need to, and I think they'll be right back there next year. But again, it is at the end of a certain era, potentially, of whatever this is.
We're talking to Pete Sweeney, Chiefs insider, Kansas City Stars Chiefs beat writer, is with us. He's brought to you by our friends at Family Leisure. They're at K10 and Ridgeview. Mention 810, you can save even more. No better place to shop for the holidays for the whole family than Family Leisure, K10 and Ridgeview.
The program with
Some breaking news.
Yeah.
Do you want to coach football in the Big Ten? Because the biggest or second biggest job in the league is now open. Michigan is looking for a coach. Do explain.
Yes, Bruce Feldman reports Michigan announces that Coach Sharon Moore has been fired for cause. Quote, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member.
So gone.
Adding him to the list of coaching changes.
Pete, we did a thing. It never actually made it to air, but we did we did it so we'd have it done, and then we could talk about our picks. We were doing a coach draft when all the college jobs were open. One of the things we talked about is like when you poached another job, when you poached a coach from another job, and we would then throw that job into it, and like we got to where like USC came open late because we had Lincoln Riley moving. And it's like, okay, you're USC, but like the top 5 guys have already gone. Right. So when people look back historically, like, why'd that big school hire so-and-so? Michigan's now last in line to hire a coach.
Which is wild because that is such a sought-after job.
Well, how about Penn State sat there open the whole time? And Matt Campbell...
They were the first one to blow anybody out, and they were one of the last ones to fill it.
They may absolutely get it right. We might find out that Iowa State's a really, really hard job, which I think it is. And he goes to Penn State with all their resources, and it's like, Matt Campbell winning his 3rd national championship. Unreal. You know, but I don't know if it's going to go quite that good, but Michigan now, okay, let's go hire a coach. Good luck with that. I know a guy in the Northeast they could have.
Fran Brown.
What'd you think of the follow-up year from our guy? Holy God.
You lost your quarterback.
Did you watch that Notre Dame game?
Didn't shower a lot this year.
No, I wouldn't do it.
I had a ticket.
Did you go?
No, I went to Mexico with my family and said, thank God.
Thank God. Yeah. I actually thought about going to the UNC game because it was ahead of the Bills game.
Yeah.
And at the last minute, I was like, I think I'm just going to do Halloween with my friends in Kansas City. And thank goodness.
Yeah.
That would have been awful to be there.
Michigan's open.
Who's more regretful, Michigan or Matt Campbell? Is he like, I should have waited a little longer?
I don't know. As much pressure as at Penn State, there might be more at Michigan.
Yeah.
There were a number of coaches that gave that job a shot that had looked pretty good that failed miserably. So,
for sure.
All right, Pete, we appreciate it. You have fun with that Charger game this weekend.
See you guys.
Custom Sight and Sound, Kansas City's best when it comes to smart home technologies, in-home theaters. How about security, surveillance? They do it all. Go to applausetheater.com. Been in my home since 2004, more than 20 years. They've been in business in an industry where most companies don't even last 2. Whether you're building new, renovating, or even if your home or office is already done. If you want true smart home technology, control everything, anything, right there on your smartphone, then Applause Custom Sight and Sound, the only choice to make. Find them online at applausetheater.com. We're joined by Villanova Hall of Famer, former Villanova coach.
Number 40.
Your program, number 1 in your heart.
That's right. And now the
Your number, wasn't it?
Number 40, yeah.
number 2 candidate on the Michigan head coach search.
No, I thought I was going to be the backup quarterback in Indianapolis.
Well, you're about the same age, so you got that going for
We
you.
both have grandkids.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
How about that?
That is.
And you just mentioned Michigan, so if you want to start with that, you can certainly do
I'll
that.
start with either one. We got time for both.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to go with?
Well, let's go with Michigan since that's the most breaking news. Everybody knows about Philip Rivers by now.
Well, Michigan has fired their coach with cause, alleging the report alleges that inappropriate relations with a staff member. I can't even remember. First of all, I never thought, not because of this, but I'm like, this is not. I never like when you promote from within. And I thought the first year was bad enough. I know he salvaged it with that win against Ohio State, and then was better. What, was this year 2? Yeah, this was year 2, and they were better this year. But I'm like, this is not going to work. What's the guy's name?
Sharon Moore.
Sharon Moore. So I had so much confidence in him, I didn't bother to even memorize his name as the head coach of one of the premier programs in college athletics. I would never have predicted that this was how it was going to end, but I would predict that it was going to end pretty quick. But now you're in a spot, if you're Michigan, ain't no Lane Kiffin to woo now.
Yeah, or Matt Campbell.
Let me ask you this. So, yeah, even Matt, and I think Matt Campbell's a good coach. I think he's
going to be doing just fine.
Yeah, I think he's going to do pretty good at Penn State. Now, I don't know if pretty good's going to be good enough because I think James Franklin did pretty good, but I think he'll at least be Franklin-esque.
I mean, I think Campbell got the same rep sort of as Franklin. Couldn't win a big one.
I know, and so that's what makes it hysterical that he ends up. Wait, he couldn't win the big one in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So why are you? But I do think it's entirely possible. No offense, Iowa State, that your job is really hard, and now with Penn State resources, you'd be like, oh my God. You know, he's 4-6 against Ryan Day in Ohio State. Like he's not bad.
It's pretty good.
I think he could do a pretty good job there. I agree. But if you're Michigan, where do you
I have
turn?
no idea. You're going to have to probably steal somebody else somewhere.
That's what I
and
think.
Pay some giant, fee for extracting their coach.
They've got the money.
School will do it. Oh, sure they do.
Tons of alumni, tons of really rich alumni.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you who I'd go get.
Who?
I'm going for 2. There are 2 names that I would go for. Let me hear give me your. Anyway, Lob, what you think? Who would you go get? I've got 2 names that I think are realistic. They'll answer the phone, and your fan base would be real happy if you land.
Urban Meyer.
That your whole fan base is not happy to have bump and grind roll into town.
How about Nick Saban? Get him off of TV.
Well, that's interesting.
Bring him back.
That's
interesting. I don't know if
Okay,
he wants to coach.
Hey, we're not bringing him back for 20 years. We're just bringing him back for 4.
Yeah.
That's interesting. No, not who I was thinking. I mean, one guy I've said a million times, Lincoln Riley. Like I would immediately see like, hey, what do you think? We're a little more centrally located in this league. Yeah. You want to come here? So I think Lincoln Riley would be one, and the other one is the same pitch to Dan Lanning at Oregon. Mm-hmm.
Which would now be an in-conference move.
It would, but
still.
I just do we think that everybody's thrilled to be out there on those West Coast schools?
No, absolutely not. Nobody sees their games. Nobody knows who they are.
I mean, they've got longer travel. Like I don't know. I think I'd turn over both those stones first.
Yeah.
I think my next call might be
the guy from BYU ain't leaving.
I think
he won't leave there. But
I hope he never does because I love having him there. I love having him in this league. Yeah. He was great. I don't know if did I tell the story about Todd and I getting to the hotel down at the Big 12? We got delayed coming out of Kansas City, and we got to the hotel like literally at like 11, maybe it was like 12. I can't remember if we landed in Dallas at just before midnight or we got to the hotel just before midnight. Whatever it was, half hour after we got to the airport at whatever time. Kalani Sitake and a couple of his guys were getting there at the exact same time. And so we checked in while he was checking in. So you kind of, I always like watch. Well, let me see how this guy is. Is he a jackass? Is he like, don't you know who I am? Or is he a real, nice guy? And he was very nice. And really, he didn't. I don't even think he'd messed with it. I think somebody else was. They probably had a suite or something, and a couple of them. Anyway, we got on the elevator with him, and we're like, "Hey, coach, how you doing?" He's like, "I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?" Couldn't have been a nicer guy.
Yeah.
And then where you can't even get near Deion Sanders.
Oh God.
To ask him a question. No. You go over to Sataki. He's got one media guy with him, and you're like, "Hey, can
it's usually the SID."
Yeah, that's what I meant. One.
It's just, I meant
PR guy.
It's not a security guy. Right.
Yeah, it's a PR guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, we'd love to talk to Coach Sataki." He's like, "Well, he's got to do this and this, but are you going to be around at this point?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll be there. We'll tape it or whatever." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, we'll make our way over."
Yeah.
Like he could have. Maybe now maybe I'll go down next year and it'll be like, oh, you don't even see him. You literally didn't even see Deion. They like brought him from behind a curtain or something. It's like, what are we doing here? But so I hope he stays in the league because I really like Kalani Sitake. And I think it's the perfect marriage there. I think one is Polynesian background. And there's such a great, rich history and connection between BYU and the Polynesian
they get those
players.
Kids. Yep.
They're great. They obviously. Provo obviously nurtures their culture and their an environment that they feel comfortable in and everything. So I just love that. I think it's great. I think it's one of the cool things of football. All the Polynesian players at BYU I think is awesome.
Well, if you don't leave the state, how about Kyle Whittingham at Utah? You want him? No, I don't think.
Well, he's talking about retiring, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know he's an older guy, but you're looking at probably a 4 or 5 year.
I mean,
he could probably make it 4 or 5 more years.
You are Michigan, like Whittingham at Utah. What's
Utah.
the ASU's coach? Getting him confused with Whittingham. Dang it! I know he's at his alma mater, but you're Michigan.
Yeah, that's true. But the alma mater thing is probably a pretty big pull for some
Dillingham, Kenny Dillingham.
Kenny Dillingham. I might call Kenny Dillingham and say, "Listen, I know you're home, but we're Michigan. What do you think? You want to come over?" I tried Jed Fish next, probably at Washington, because I think he did a hell of a job at Arizona. And they were pretty good at Washington. That just count that, they had to turn over their whole roster, just like Kalen DeBoer had to turn over the whole Alabama roster when he first got there. And they were fairly competitive. I mean, listening to Softy wasn't the biggest fan of him at the end of the year, but I look at him But this could send. They're a big enough program that, like I said, were Chris Kleiman still here? If Lance Leipold had gone 9-3 this year, and where they are so late in the game, you could see the ripples at a lot of other places. Because I think the only way they're going to hit a home run,
they're going to have to steal something.
They're going to have to steal somebody big.
And I don't think who's the guy at Texas Tech, Joey McGuire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he wants to. I mean, that's a gold mine right now. I mean, that thing is.
Did you see what his
they
new
got
contract
more
is?
money than the Pope's got.
But did you see
water.
what his new contract is?
No.
Eli Drinkwitz is making 10 plus, and at the end of the deal, it's the last 2 years are over 11.
Mm-hmm.
Joey McGuire got a new deal. They're going to get a bye in the playoffs. How much per year do you think he's making?
Probably less. Since you're saying it, probably less.
But how much?
$9 million.
$100K.
6.5.
Oh boy.
He's not even within spitting distance of Eli Drinkwitz.
Well,
that's how much the industry thinks it's McGuire.
Yeah, right.
Who's getting it done at Texas Tech.
And not Cody Campbell.
Yeah, it's Cody Campbell. It's Patrick Mahomes. The affiliation with Patrick Mahomes, I think, is a big part of it as well.
Huge, yeah.
But that tells you exactly. They think the industry. If anybody thought it was him, an SEC school would have called for $9-10 million. Like Florida didn't think, we got to get Joey McGuire,
right?
Because
he could use
that's a team that can absolutely clean some clocks in the playoffs.
Oh,
everyone's
they can win
the
national
quarterback,
championship.
whatever. The school history is known mostly because of Patrick Mahomes and the good quarterbacks they've had. That team has a front seven that will just wreck you.
Yeah.
The offense is a good. The quarterback might.
Well, you think Ohio State? You think Ryan Day's been doing it with
but I'm saying I'm saying
KU wideouts out there?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I think people look at that at Texas Tech and think, well, that's the old Texas Tech just a quarterback, but he could build something like that, and if they had the money That's a team that could be built, but he doesn't have. He's not going to have that if he goes somewhere else.
Well,
at Michigan, it had a ton of money.
But that's my point. Is that like all the guys that win at the high, like Nick Saban.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't doing it with a bunch of college free agents. I mean, so like getting the talent now requires having the money. But so he's got the talent and he's winning with it, but nobody's thinking it's him.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a great time to use it in your to your advantage too.
I mean,
just have somebody float the rumor out there in Michigan, call him on the phone.
And I know Signetti's going for a second straight year to the playoffs, but he got 11.
Yeah,
they gave McGuire 6.5.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not like...
And nobody thought Signetti was going to do it after his first press conference. They're going, this is great. This guy is
help too.
Yeah.
This guy is
They are.
Yeah.
No one's winning without money.
No, they all have money. Yeah.
No one's winning without money. And we know that's the only reason why Eli Drinkwitz hasn't beaten an SEC team with a winning record. It's because these damn Fortune 500 companies in the state of Missouri will not give them more money.
Yeah. Dang it.
Crud, yeah.
Good, yeah, man.
You know how many we have in this state?
You know how many jobs, how many people we're
employing?
So I think they're paying them, aren't they, Coach? He makes it sound like slave labor. We gave them 200 of our, finest miners. Like, what? They pay them.
They do. It's their job.
You're like
they have a real
acting
job.
like local companies hiring local grads. Like, hey. You ungrateful bastards!
If it hadn't been for us,
these employees weren't in the transfer portal.
So
what are you doing?
If it hadn't been for us, your company wouldn't exist.
Oh, if you think it's a bad thing, Coach, we'll just hire the Missouri State kids. What? I just the thoughts that go through these coaches' heads.
I know.
And you haven't been told no for 5 years. Like you start to believe
the real
crap.
world is they're not in the real world.
True.
That's
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did them a favor.
Yeah.
You kidding me? What would you do on Saturday? I guess I'd just sit around in my underwear and stare at the wall, Coach. Thank God you're here.
Is not as bad as you might imagine.
Curtis is about to engage on that for a week next week.
Yeah.
That's right. He's out.
It's called Curtis's
my
winter vacation.
That's it. He ain't going to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So anyway, so Michigan's open.
Yeah, boy, that's amazing. That is just huge.
I mean, it's not Lance Leipold being hired. When did they hire Leipold? July 10th or whatever was it? It was May, wasn't it?
It was pretty late.
Yeah, it was very late.
It was really late. It was April or May. It was April.
It is Michigan too. You can catch up. Your problem is you got to get going. I mean, you can catch up with. I don't think a whole lot of problem, especially with the transfer portal the way it is, and all kids going now who are already signed going. Okay, who is the next guy? But number two is, well, this is the University of Michigan. So we expect them to get this right.
Have we heard how Penn State's recruiting class has bounced back?
I have no idea.
Since they did finally make a hire,
because I don't think a lot of those kids
falling apart.
Right, I don't know those
including
kids,
11 of them going to Virginia Tech to be with Jay Franklin.
That's right. And you knew that was going to happen.
The bus just pulls up and they all get off at the
But
same
I think
time.
Matt Campbell was like, I mean, he was getting NFL guys. Either his scouting eye, his development, one of those two or both are really good.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there were NFL guys coming out of that school.
And he did a
regularly.
lot with less.
Yeah.
I mean, developed these kids. He helped them develop into NFL players.
I read a story
He was
early
not
on.
getting the cream of the crop.
He was on all the social medias and had all the they had a meeting about what hashtags they wanted, around. I mean, he had fully embraced the modern youth.
Yeah, right.
And how to get in front of them. So, yeah.
Social media, branding, the whole thing, what to do, what not to do. And his problem is a lot of those kids that Penn State had recruited, probably didn't know Matt Campbell from Adam. I mean, or even Iowa State's football program from Adam. Just
that'll be funny.
Who are we getting? A guy from where?
Why does Penn State have 7 kids from Minnesota? They all decommitted from Iowa State.
Yeah,
okay,
there we go.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of that. It's like Fran Brown for 1 year at Syracuse. Like, look at this Georgia kid and that Florida kid and that. Like, he's the recruiting coordinator at Georgia. You know how long that lasted? A year.
One winter.
Lasted
one? Didn't he make it to spring ball?
Not as many.
Just went. Oh my God!
Not as many showers this year.
No. Bill O'Brien. They were making excuses for why it was so bad to keep Bill O'Brien, right? And we lost to him.
There you go.
BC had one win against Literally, look it up. It's like Jay's truck driving school. They got them the opening week, and then all L's
from that point.
and
on.
then like next to last game of the year, Syracuse. Yeah, we got those guys. Yes. They bottomed out hard at Syracuse. We went 10 wins to 3.
Zilch.
I knew there was a problem when you come off a 10-win year with a new head coach who's looks good, saying all the right things, kind of got people fired up. Like, what's Syracuse win total? 5.5. Ooh, that's not good. 5.5. Like, just bowl eligibility gets me over. I was like, I would hammer the under, except I never bet negative against my own teams.
Your own
like,
teams, yeah.
So a buddy of mine was like, Syracuse 5.5. You taking that over, aren't you? I'm like, I would actually hammer the under. You betting it? I go, no, I don't bet against my team. Like, well, then I'm not gonna. I'm gonna bet them over. And like, so then he calls me at about
why'd you let me bet them over?
See what you're talking about. This team sucks. And I'm like, did you know it sucked about? I said, no, I don't know why it's 5.5. So I figure somebody knows something.
BC beat Fordham.
Fordham. The equivalent of Jay's truck driving school.
That's a 1AA school.
Are they even 1AA?
I think they are, aren't they? At least they were. They might not be, but I think they're a 1AA. I don't think you can play any lower than that, can you? If you're a Division I school, I don't think you can play anybody lower than 1AA. I don't think.
Well, if you're Mizzou basketball, you can.
Yeah.
Mississippi Valley State.
That was K-State.
That was K-State.
Uh-huh.
Well, I thought Mizzou had somebody who was like.
Well, they did. They played
low.
Prairie View A&M.
Yeah.
They've got 2 losses and they played 2 teams in the top 200, right?
Something like that.
Oh no, Minnesota's higher than that.
Yeah, Minnesota's. They weren't much higher than that.
Yeah, you're scrunching over basketball to football now, so those guys can schedule whoever they want.
Yeah.
Fordham's now a member of the Patriot League, so they are
1AA.
They are in.
They're D1 now.
Yeah, they're in the.
That's 1AA.
No,
FCS.
Yeah, it's 1AA.
Yeah,
That's
1AA.
right. That's the same thing. In fact, they used to be
Yep.
with Villanova in the same conference, or not anymore.
Why didn't Villanova schedule Syracuse? This would have been your year, Frank.
That would have been it to get our 1A out of the way. That once a year they go.
Remember that year
they
you guys
they played Penn State right this year.
Villanova did?
Yeah,
That's
right. They opened
and
they were
hung around for a while.
They were a 52-point underdog.
And wasn't it like
and
7-7 or something?
And I think Penn State won by 51. So Villanova covered.
Yeah, but I
the
think
number.
But I think it was like 7-7 after the first quarter. Something. I had a buddy who sent me a text.
Yes.
The fighting Frank Bowles hanging in there. Sent me a screenshot of the Villanova score.
And I think Villanova scored with like 3 seconds left to cover the spread.
Remember when
50.
Villanova had a good year and you were in the playoffs and you had that like 5'9" white wideout who did everything for the team? Like 10 years ago or something?
Yeah, they're 2006 they won the 1AA championship.
Was that what it was?
Yeah. They had Brett, the reason I remember is
Did that
because
kid go on to do it? They had this wideout.
Yeah. No.
Who they'd run
it
reverses
wasn't
to and he
Finneran.
returned kicks
Finneran
and
played
punts.
for Atlanta. He was a big kid. Finneran played there, the kid, the wide receiver for the Atlanta
Brian
Falcons. Brian Finneran. He's a good player.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Brett Gordon, I think, who is now he's a high school coach now in Philadelphia. They just played my high school for the state championship in Pennsylvania. LaSalle High School won. So, but Brett Gordon was the quarterback of that Villanova team that won the 1AA championship. Yeah.
What do you think of these Kansas City Chiefs, Frank?
I don't know, buddy. Not good. Not good.
There it is. We've been waiting. Finally.
That's it.
Finally.
Suboptimal.
They're
good.
Not good. Not good. I was out there on Sunday, and you just thought everything. Every week it's the game of the year. For the past ever since the bye, and every week was this is it. Okay, we're gonna win this, and we're gonna win 5 of our last 7. Okay, now we're gonna win 6 of our 5 of our last 6.
Well,
now we're
really
going to win 4 of our last 5.
Now they know it's really important.
Now it's really important. So I don't know. They hit this pinnacle almost every week. These are all must-win games. Now it really is a must-win game. We'll see how it comes out. I don't know.
Like I love they finally used the term back against the wall.
Yeah,
today.
it's been back against the wall for a while.
You've been shoved through the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy. Yeah.
Your back was against the wall 3 weeks ago when you left Denver.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I don't think. I mean, their chances of making the playoffs are not good. They got to win out, and the Colts got to lose at least 2 of their 4. Chargers, have to lose to Dallas or Houston, then lose to the Broncos. So many scenarios like you guys were talking about. Was it 2006?
Yeah.
2006. I remember that day.
Yep.
Down at Channel 4, we're sitting
4
around
games had
and
to go
we're
the right
watching
way.
these games, and they're all falling towards the Chiefs. We're going, this cannot happen.
Yeah.
And it happened. And we ended up down at Herm was living down on the plaza, and we got
on the plaza?
We got a hold of him and said, hey, Coach. He said, yeah, sure. Came down to the lobby of his of where he lived down there and did a whole deal with all the media, just to talk about, all of a sudden they're in the playoffs and didn't think they had a snowball's chance at that point.
And they didn't.
That was
They
crazy.
still didn't.
They still-
Well, they still didn't, but
They didn't
at
get
least
a first
they got
down
there.
until the third
I
quarter.
know.
Yeah. I
That's what
remember.
you get.
I remember half asleep.
Everybody was on vacation at
Yeah.
that point. Mentally, they're gone.
I remember the Chiefs came in the press box. We're like, okay, this is done. Then we all go home and we're watching the 3 o'clock games, and I'm half asleep, and I wake up and I'm like, everything is still in play. Like we need the Broncos were terrible and needed to beat
There were
somebody.
3 games. There were 3
Pittsburgh
games.
was one of them.
Pittsburgh had to beat Cincinnati. The Broncos had to lose to the 49ers. They
That's
were at home.
what it
That was
was.
the late
And that
game.
was
The
49
49ers
and
were
the
good.
49ers sucked.
Were terrible, yeah.
Right, and that was
the other
OT.
one was Tennessee had to beat New England, I think. And the one that seemed the least obvious or least possible was at the end of the Pittsburgh-Cincy game. The Bengals were lining up for a game-winning field goal, and they missed it. Shane Edge missed it. That would have knocked them out, and then Pittsburgh won in overtime.
They
and then
won in overtime,
New England
yeah.
won, or the New England-Tennessee game went that right. But then we had to wait around for the 49ers in Denver, and they won in overtime with the help of former KU running back Moran Norris.
Oh, my
And then Joe Nedney kicked the game-winning overtime field goal to put the
think
the
we-
Chiefs in.
I think we had to have like a conference call with
6.
Boger that
Yeah.
night because we had
Yep.
to change
It was-
everything we were doing.
We were at least I know I was at Nate Bucati had his house down off Metcalf. It was New Year's Eve party where others like I guess
That's
we're
right.
working tomorrow.
Hey,
that's right.
We're leaving
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
This is
From
great.
this.
So it is New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah. Hey, the ball
so
dropped. Let's get. We gotta
That's
go
what
to
it
work
was.
tomorrow.
We had to drag our asses in on January 1st because you fans were going to want to talk about it.
Hey, here's the deal too. So Jason Lamb, this is a great story he tells all the time. He was working with me down at Channel 4, and he's at a New Year's Eve party, and he's hammered away, having a great time. I call him on the phone. I said, hey, you got to get in here. We got the Chiefs have made the playoffs. You got to come in. He had one of his friends drive him in. Okay, so have him. Now, he wasn't going to be on the air, but he had to edit stuff and do all kinds of chasing and phone calls and all this other crap. And then after the newscast was over, I had to drive him home. He was hammered. Then I just hammered. It was great.
You just brought back a great memory of the of Nate's party because his buddy Bill
Oh yeah, Summer
wearing
of
the
Bill.
bunny outfit. Summer of Bill was wearing the Ralphie bunny outfit. He was wearing that. And as I recall, God, I hope he wasn't married then. Doing quite well in the bunny outfit too.
Yeah.
He
was. Bill was awesome.
Something different.
Great guy.
All time.
Yeah, so that was a really interesting time. So we're not into the final weekend, obviously, but it all just depends on they've got to win the game. Period. I mean, they can't. They don't. It doesn't matter what anybody does at the moment unless they win. So
that is a fact, Frank.
Yeah.
The winning is important.
You have to win.
What do you think? What's been wrong?
I think it is a malaise. It is a season after season after season. They've played. I think they've. I've said that. I think they've played 22 extra games since this run started. So that is over a season more. Now, not every player has played. You went through the roster, guys who've been here for a while, guys who haven't. But a lot of these guys have been here for a lot of that extra practice, extra games, extra pressure, less amount of time away from the building after the season's over, coming back for OTAs, and the whole thing, and the preseason practices. And to me, I just think that we never get a break here. We're never off. And that it's concentration. You drop that many passes. That is just, there's no excuse for that. Okay, there just isn't any excuse for dropping. I think 6 at least. Some people say 8, because I think
I heard someone say 10. Someone who wasn't just like a
I've heard 10.
fly-by-night
yeah.
guy.
Well, the deal
They were
was
saying that night.
who got
was 10.
They gave one of the drops was the hit on Rasheed Rice.
Yeah.
Right, but they dropped it. He caught it, but he got hammered. But he dropped the ball.
Who got more hammered? Rasheed Rice on that play or Lamb? New Year's Eve.
I think Lamb was more hammered than Rasheed Rice because
he didn't drop the ball,
Rice
though.
got up and Rasheed Rice got back
Yeah.
up. And
Lammer didn't drop the ball though. He got the job done.
Lammer got the job done. Yeah, absolutely did.
I always knew that guy could get the job done.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I think it's I think it's many layers, and I really do think now that we look back at it, maybe it feels this way all the time, but we should have seen this coming a little more.
Yeah, and I think everybody's caught up to the Chiefs too. I think they know approximately what they're going to do in any type of situation. Now, the surprise gotcha plays aren't there. I haven't seen those for a while. So it's one of those deals. These teams are, and they're not afraid of the Chiefs anymore.
No,
that's a big factor. That's a huge factor, if you ask me. A team like Houston comes in there. They come in here playing at Arrowhead, and the Chiefs have everything on the line. The crowd's going crazy. The place is packed, and they just go, okay, fine, let's go.
What do you expect them to do against the Chargers?
I'm still. You're never going to give
What's
up.
the number,
on
K?
4.5.
4.5 now. Yeah, I was thinking it's first time. Hey, it went 3.5 finally. They had 4 straight games that were 3.5 point favorites. Like, let's get off that number if we can.
I would take the Chargers in the points. I think the Chiefs will win in a very close football game, but after that, I don't.
I finally went to the dark side and took the Texans in the points last time. I did. My predicted score was Chiefs 17-16, but
that's cheating.
I think at 4.5, I think the world is going to be on the Chargers, and I will be on the Chiefs.
Yeah. You always go that way.
The Eagles did most of the lifting in that game. Let's be clear.
Yeah, sure they did.
I mean, Jalen Hurts. What happened to that guy?
What happened to that team? There's the other team. What happened to that team?
I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, right? I don't think he's spectacular.
No.
And I think one of the main reasons he's a good quarterback is his legs,
right?
His running and the tush push and all that, his toughness. I watched him spin it throw for throw with Patrick Mahomes 3 years ago.
Yep.
And clearly outplayed
really
him.
Good that day.
Played a very good game, even though it was mostly their defense. But he didn't play bad this last time. I mean, that was awful.
I mean,
he's a Super Bowl winning
Justin
quarterback.
Herbert was awful, and Hurts went.
Yeah.
You think you're bad? I'm going to turn it over twice on the same play. Hold my beer.
Yeah.
Justin Hurts is a pretty good player. I'm sorry.
Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
But even he wasn't that good.
No.
He wasn't. But I think he's a pretty good player, and I think Harbaugh's a pretty good coach. So.
By the way, did you see the post game interview where the reporters running him down? No, I'm just going to celebrate with my teammates. It's like, just a minute. They've already gone to her. She hadn't even gotten him to stop walking.
She grabbed him by the arm. Did you see if she
Buck throws it down to her.
Yeah.
And she's still chasing him, and he's like, "No, I'm just going to celebrate with my teammates." It's like, "No, it's just a couple minutes here." And finally, I think he sees the red light on the camera.
Yeah,
or ESPN. I think I've heard some people say that they didn't. He didn't know who it was. Thought it was just someone coming up wanting to talk to him, or maybe some from some other radio. Oh, this is the thing we're supposed to do because ESPN's doing the game.
I don't know. He looked like he had the jar was empty.
Yeah.
On what he had to give about who was asking. I mean, I don't.
That could be.
I totally agree.
None.
There was
none
left
to
give.
Hey, let me see if I can find one.
She grabbed him. He has a sore elbow, right? He
he had cut up his elbow.
Right, and she grabbed that elbow to stop him.
It was the back of his hand, I thought it was.
He had surgery on his non-throwing hand.
Yeah, right.
But
she
he
grabbed
also
that arm.
He had a bloody elbow. He had really scraped up his elbow on the turf, and the bandage they put on it to come off, and there was blood all over his arm and everything. And
that's the arm she grabbed.
Yeah.
when she tried to stop him, he goes, "Why?"
But I'm like, and I asked. We'll play it later probably. I asked Xavier Worthy because the whole receiving corps jetted.
Yeah.
Well,
after the game,
Travis Kelce too.
So I asked him today. I'm like, the fans pay a lot of money to come out and they buy jerseys and they're out. Like, do you feel an obligation for, to talk and let the fans know what you think about that game? And he gave a fairly thoughtful answer. I mean, he's like, well, sometimes you just, it's a bad day and you feel bad about your performance. But I understand. I can see the fan side of it, and I'm gonna be like, So then talk.
Yeah, that's
Go
where I
ahead and
always
hang around.
Right.
And go ahead and let the fans hear something. Like,
Sure. Yeah, that's where I always respected guys. Win, lose, draw. We're there, standing by their lockers, either Royals or
Vinny
Chiefs or whatever.
Pasquantino, Eric Hosmer.
Yeah, the Hosmer, those guys, George Bretts, all those guys.
Do you like the guys that
Grunhard, Moss.
What about the guys who Hollywood in front of the camera and sit there making sure you see how much they're disappointed? Then when it comes time to actually say something, they go, "I'm out."
Yeah.
How about those guys?
No, not so much. I've had to deal with those two. So have you. We all have.
Okay. We'll take a break. We'll get to some Frank opinions. The godfather of Kansas City sports, the great Frank Bull, is with us, brought to you by our friends at Applause Custom Sight and Sound, Kansas City's best when it comes to smart home technology, smart office technology as well, security, surveillance, surround sound, in-home theaters. That's Applause Custom Sight and Sound. Find them online at applausetheater.com.
KCK. They're one apart. One has
Walter
134, one
Johnson's
has 135.
from the state of Kansas, but
Right.
he's not KCK.
No, Humboldt. One has 134, one has 135. KCK.
Teams.
I should know this.
I should too.
One of them played, I think, a lot for the Giants. One guy played for, who did he play for? He was also, one of them was a KU guy. The guy whose birthday is today. He played for the Expos, Cubs, White Sox, A's, Red Sox, Angels, and briefly for the Royals. He ended his career in '83 for the Royals.
Expos, Cubs.
Yeah.
Ended with the Bannister?
Nope.
I don't know.
Let's see. The guy that was the KU guy was Steve Renko.
Oh gosh, I should remember that.
81 today. He has 134.
What a
The
good guy
other
he
one passed away back in 2014. Ray Sadecki, who went to Bishop
Yep.
Ward.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm going to commit that to memory. Did not know.
Near did I,
Okay.
and I should have.
He would have known both.
Franco
those
was
names.
great. Yeah.
All right, let's get to some Frank opinions. The Godfather, Frank Bull, is with us here in the program. Where do we begin?
We begin with me kind of backtracking my. Hang on, just one second here.
You're not prepared.
I wasn't entirely prepared.
He was looking up something else.
Frank opinions. I was looking.
You know,
Doesn't
on
matter if we get there
Wednesdays-
because I'm already done.
It is a new segment that we've really only been doing.
I'm not
for,
used to it.
You know,
I'm not used to it.
About 10
12 years or so. You know,
Okay, here we go. All right. Who you got? Chiefs minus 4.5. Chargers plus 4.5.
Chargers
Chiefs.
plus 4.5.
Chiefs.
58-42 Chargers.
What? You turncoats? Absolute turncoats? So negative.
What is the Chiefs' final record? 9-8 or 10-7, or that's one choice. 8-9 or worse. I was going to say 9-8 or better, but it's
Well,
only two
since they pay,
possibilities.
I'll take. Okay. I'll say was it 9 or
9-8 or better.
9?
9 and 8 or better.
Or better, yeah.
Number.
Uh,
Give me 66%.
Under.
61.7.
Yes.
Shut up, Frank.
Doesn't matter now anyway.
I can't believe you're gloating.
I am going.
Shut up,
Rubbing
Brent.
it in. I'm having a tough day
Trying to
here, and here you are rubbing it in. Damn.
All right, what would you prefer for the Chiefs? Wild card loss and number 20 pick in the draft, 8-9 and the number 15 pick, 6-11 and the number 11 pick.
Wild card loss. They don't want to lose the streak and have everybody laughing at them, and et cetera, et cetera.
I'm gonna go 6-11 in the higher pick.
Yeah, that's what I'd. rather have,
50% said 6-11.
but- You're kidding me.
28%
Oh
said
my
wild card loss.
gosh.
22% said 8-9.
If he said
They are off the wagon.
So what they're basically saying is if they can't make the playoffs, they definitely would rather.
Well, yeah, but
Because
the
more
one
people
was the
said
playoffs
wild
and
card
loss,
loss and
though.
8
well, you
9.
didn't present an option of get in as a wild card and win the Super Bowl.
Right.
No, right.
Because that would have been an obvious one.
Yeah.
I wanted something there might be, three equally attractive.
Yeah, I thought they'd want to keep
Options.
the streak going of the wild.
So I don't know if you
of the
understand.
playoffs.
This is Titletown, USA.
I agree.
These championships are bust.
But if I'd said wild card,
More draft
Super
picks.
Bowl win, gosh, I wonder who would pick 6-11 over the Super Bowl win.
It's not 19. What year did Marty get here? It's not 1989. We're
Yeah.
just making the playoffs. It'd be great.
True story.
Not anymore. It's a birthright in this town.
Ooh,
If
There are kids
I've
in
never known.
there are kids in what, second grade, that know nothing other than conference championship games.
True story.
They are gonna throw a
What
fit
is
this
happening?
year.
What is happening?
They're not going back to school after the Christmas break. I ain't going back.
Santa is going to bring them nothing.
Nothing.
They're going to get a big lump of coal in their stocking. They start throwing a fit.
If the Chiefs have the 14th overall pick, who would you prefer? Jeremiah Love, running back Notre Dame. Keldrick Falk, edge, Auburn. Peter Woods, defensive tackle, Clemson.
Edge.
Running back.
Edge.
It's actually edge. 53% say edge. 29% said running back. 18% said defensive.
You never draft a running back that high.
I'd take if they're 14 and Jeremiah Love's there, thank you.
If it was,
He probably will
He's
not
the
be
one
there.
guy
He
I'd
will
do
not
it
be
for.
if
there.
it was that obvious, I wouldn't take calls talking about how stupid they are. Oh, I took a call this week. We got to get back to Marty Schottenheimer football.
Who's Christian Okoye in the draft?
Are you 20? Like, did you live through that era?
Yes.
Did you not see how that ended every year?
Mm-hmm. But you already have the guy Marty didn't have, so I'd like that running back. Love's the one guy I think I'd risk the pick for.
I am a firm believer. If you flip-flop Marty Schottenheimer and Bill Belichick for the jobs that they had, I think Marty might be the better coach. Might be.
I won't argue with you.
I mean, he had Phillip Rivers. He won 14-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his stupid DB didn't get down.
Get down. They might have won. They might have won it that year.
Yeah, they would have beat the Patriots. Did go on.
They would have. No, that was 06. They would have won. They would have.
The story's
hosted,
a lot better if the Patriots went on to win it. Nobody out there knows. They don't remember which year. Just let me have it.
But they would have hosted the Colts in the championship game. Baltimore or India would have gone on the road instead of hosting New England as they did. So I like the Chargers' chances there. How many more Super Bowl appearances for Patrick Mahomes? 0, 1, or 2?
2.
Oh, geez, 2 at
Number?
least. 85.
84.
73.
Whoa.
That's a big number, 85, Frank.
They're really off the
Throwing it out there.
God, they threw Patrick Mahomes under the bus.
Are you high? 85. What's
Not
going
yet.
on?
Hey, he's got to win. He's got to win at least 3 more, 4 more to tie the Brady's. Come on now.
What chance is there that Andy Reid retires after the season? 5% or more? Under 5%?
5% or more.
Yeah, 5% or more.
It's under 5%, actually.
Jeez.
60. 60%.
Under.
65.5.
Almost said it.
Do you remember when you were leading?
No, I don't remember any of that, okay?
Gentler nation, then.
I'm going for that number 1 draft choice.
Should Kansas State have accepted a bowl invite? Yes or no?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Number?
No, it's you.
No, I just gave that one.
Oh, that's right, you did. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've got
75.
I've got a new system that works perfectly. Well, I don't even know the question. Frank threw me off. What was it?
Wow. Should
I
Kansas State
have to keep score.
Oh, it's
Have
so-
you not seen how hard
so
that is? Lebo cries
difficult.
every time I'm on vacation.
'Cause-
I'll tune in the show, and it's like during like chumps. Well, I mean, I'm having to keep score over here.
Yeah, that's right.
I keep score during this segment.
No, I got it. 3-3.
But if he keeps score, then he can complain that he's got too much to do.
That's right.
Hey, Cal. Cal.
I-
Cal, you see how this works. You understand how this works, okay?
I literally do everything.
Would you
around
start
here.
yesterday or what? What the hell's wrong with you?
Kyle, I met this guy when you were 1. I've picked up a thing or two. Should K-State have accepted a bowl invite?
Yes.
And you said the number was.
No, what did you say?
You said.
I think I said, what did I say?
75, didn't he?
75, yeah, I did.
You said. You'd forgotten the question.
Yeah. Well, that's a good.
Do you remember
number.
the question?
That's a good number. That's a good number. 76.
61.8.
Damn it. First thought. Always go with your first thought, Frank.
Always.
Always.
That's why I've gotten beat like 9,000 times in a row.
Should Kansas have accepted a bowl invite?
Yes.
Yeah,
Number.
hell yeah.
60. What was the last one? I'll say it's the same number. 65.
Higher.
62.2.
Don't call it a comeback.
No, not really.
At the last one, we have time for one more.
Is that it?
All right, let's do one more here. Will Missouri make the NCAA tournament?
No.
No.
Number?
65. I like 65.
You do, apparently.
Yeah, very much.
Toss power trap.
Thank you very much.
66.
59.7.
Oh, son of a.
You wanted the extra question.
So
Hoisted upon your own petard.
All right. Frank wins. What's the what are we
Nice.
currently at?
Terrible.
All right, overall 24-18-2 in favor of Soren. In the aggregate, Soren 254, Frank 226.
Okay. I mean, it's semi-respectable. You at least show your face in town, Frank. I'll give you that much.
Not necessarily.
We'll take a break. One thing I can't do, figure out current events. How stupid am I? We find out next. It's called What in the World, Soren? It's coming up here in the program. All right, Frank, what in the world?
All right, pay attention. What number did In-N-Out Burger drop from its order-taking system because of the latest craze about that number?
6-7.
Very good. That's very good for you. Why was I-70 closed in both directions at Oak Grove today?
Chicken truck crash.
Close. Cattle truck.
Okay.
Cattle on both sides of the highway running free. Prairie Village is studying a proposal that would ban what animal as a pet? Not a cow.
What animal?
What animal as a pet?
Snake.
Monkeys. Monkey ban.
Who's trying to have a monkey for a
Okay.
Bubbles.
A waitress in Pittsburgh why did a waitress in Pittsburgh pull out a leaf blower inside the restaurant?
Kurtis's flatulence.
No, some people didn't tip her, so she escorted them out of the building with a leaf blower.
That
I
is
love it.
fantastic.
I'll tip her for that.
Fantastic. I love it. Fourth quarter of the program begins right now under the beautiful, spectacular. Dark at 4, but
Right,
you know,
right.
might as well enjoy that part of it.
We're almost to the shortest day.
I know. Do you
Another
champion
10
that
days
day
or so.
like I do?
I do. As soon as you get past the 22nd, yes, the days are getting longer.
Yeah, that is always a momentous occasion in my house as well. Are we getting closer to getting rid of this stupid, like just going to daylight savings time all the time?
I don't really have my pulse on that, but I would guess
They
no.
shortened it a few years ago,
Yeah.
which was a step in the right direction. I think they took about a month off of it. Didn't they move it like 2 weeks in each direction? I know that one thing they finally
Something
did
like
was, because when I was a kid, it was standard time for Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, oh, great. Head out. It's already pitch black. Good thinking.
Yeah, I never, it was always dark.
It sucked. Brutal. All right, let's hear from some Chiefs. They were at the podium today. Drops. That's been a big problem for the Kansas City Chiefs when it comes to the receivers. Andy Reid was asked about the drops that occurred last Sunday night.
These guys, they've got good hands, and they're proud guys that normally catch the football. So things happen in this business where you might drop a ball once in a while. So you got to go back and you got to catch a few more balls at practice and focus in on it, and we go from there.
On that topic, when you're calling plays and designing plays, and the plays are obviously that will drop, how do you adjust to versus react to those moments and those were there?
I got trust in the guys. I mean, it's not a common thing for the guys that have had some mishaps there. So they'll work through it. And that's what you do. I mean, they're good players, and we're always looking at it from a coach's standpoint. Can we put them in better positions? And we're never going to stop doing that either. Try to work to their strengths.
Except that during the game, it came out, and I think they were still compiling numbers that night, that they had the second most drops in the NFL this year. So the idea that this isn't usually what they are, has been this year, or you wouldn't be second.
Right.
So the idea that this isn't like them. Like I said, we're in December now. Plaza lights have been on for 2 weeks. This is who this team is.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what else do you expect him to say?
Oh no, we've talked about the distinction between what he what's the truth and what he's kind of in a situation where he has to say it. But
it's one of the reasons why
we hope that he feels away from the microphone. What the hell's happening this year?
I know that people are going to be like, how much would they make this much money? I'd be so motivated to go out there. I don't care how many championships I've won, is what we would all sit there and say. And these guys are motivated, but this is this to me is they're just not motivated like they've been in the past. And at the NFL, at the highest level, going up against the best of the best, if you're off just a little bit, it shows. And this team has clearly been off
just a little bit
all year.
Yeah,
not
by much. They still have a positive point differential, but
by 60 plus points.
Yeah, they're like they're like 7th or 8th in the NFL in point differential. But all it takes is just a couple of weeks where you're one bit off and you're done.
The injury news: Trent McDuffie at practice, not at practice. Juwan Taylor and Wanya Morris. Andy Reid acknowledging that it's going to be a while for Wanya Morris. I think we all saw that. That was a pretty serious injury. But Juwan Taylor not at practice either. Pete Sweeney, who you heard here today in the 3 o'clock hour, you can catch that on the podcast at 810WHB.com on the 810 app as well. Pete asked Reid how he feels about Seaboldt playing again.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him again if he has if he's got to be in there. He showed some nice things. It's always a challenge the second time when they have tape on you. So you gotta, if you're getting in there, you better keep practicing and detailing your work. Yeah, it's important.
Coach, on that front, would you remember kind of obviously you guys liked that, so you brought it back when you had a chance to get him back. But remember what the conversations were and what kind of the thinking was when you did end up losing him and why didn't make that initial 53?
We took him originally just because we thought he'd be a good player. You got to juggle the numbers, which is always a challenge. And so he got poached there, taken. And when he got unpoached, we poached him. It was pretty simple. But we got him back here as quickly as we could.
I mean, I wanted to hear, he didn't go into any detail about what the conversation was. They're like, well, hey, we just wanted a veteran guy. But he offered nothing there.
Yeah.
Made a little funny ha-ha, but I'll state whoever was the loudest voice in the room about Wanya Morris over Seaboldt, he should either be gone or should not be listened to ever again about offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And if that's Andy Reid, then he needs to be like, listen, guys, you saw I blew it last year. You guys make the call.
If it's Andy Heck.
If it's they got to.
Whoever it is.
Yeah. It's because he looked better in one game than taking the best snaps of all the games Wanya Morris has played and putting them together.
Yeah.
Like even when Wanya Morris doesn't give up a sack, there is still a look out. Send it, Pat.
Oh, for sure. And he did hit on one factor. He said they haven't now. Whoever's the Chargers have some tape on Seaboldt, so they may find some things, and he'll have to continue to adjust, just as Jalen Moore did when he first popped in for Josh Simmons. He looked really good the first week. Then they started figuring out what can he do, and as more and more tape showed up on him, people began to find the holes in his game, and he began to be less effective. You'd hope that would be a slower process for Pole, but he's going to have to step up because it's going to get tougher each week, obviously.
Patrick Mahomes at the podium as well today. He was asked how he thought he played.
Yeah, just little things here and there. I mean, just trying to keep drives going, and there's times to be aggressive, and there's times when just get the ball out of your hand and let guys make plays. And I think that was something that when I look back at myself is there were certain times in certain spots of the game where I could have maybe taken a completion instead of trying to go for the home run shot. So that's stuff I have to continue to get better at.
No more home run shots.
Well, like when they're not going deep, I got to give my guys a chance. I got to send it down there. I got when he takes a couple shots, I got to stop at that. I mean,
yeah, it's always
reminds me of that Kevin Nealon. When he did do the bit where he'd come on Saturday Night Live on SNL News and be like, like what we're talking about here is like we've got to get the trade in balance. Like that's a real problem. I mean that's because when you have a trade imbalance and people aren't at work, that's what I'm really saying here. People aren't at work. I mean forget about that stuff I was talking about the trade. I was totally grabbing at straws. I was talking about like people not being at work. Right, like when they're not at work, then there's just no money to put into the economy. That's what I'm getting at. There's no money in the economy. Forget about that. People not at work. That was
a great.
And he eventually makes his way all the way back around to the original point.
Yeah.
No. That's
what it is.
That's kind of Mahomes this year. Like no. Forget about that going deep crap.
Yeah.
I was grabbing at straws on that one.
Yeah.
I gotta check it down. Okay.
Yeah. But it always ends up being whatever wherever he lands is always it's on me.
It always
Which is kind of what that was.
We know as a team they've struggled to beat man coverage. Mahomes asked today how they can be better against man.
Yeah, I mean, we have to keep giving them different looks and different things to beat the man coverage as far as giving our guys opportunities to get themselves open. And then I think what will be important is getting with our guys and knowing what's their best routes against man coverage and getting them those routes in the right situation. And so that's stuff that we've done, and we kind of go through waves of being able to beat it, and then kind of teams kind of obviously adjust and stuff like that. So we have to make those adjustments as well again and showcase that we can beat the man coverage, and then whenever they get in zone, showcase we can beat that as well.
A bit of a word salad.
A bit, but I mean, it's one of those things where if you'd feel better about that if it was week 3. We're kind of getting this new group kind of figure out what guys can run, but week 14, they're still trying to figure out what routes guys can run.
Something we pointed out in the opening hour. Again, if you missed it, podcast, make sure you subscribe. 810WHB.com, 810 app. It's not a new team. There's only a handful of new players.
Yeah. The only one that's
this team should have hit the ground running.
Yeah, the only one who's new to that part of the game would be Tyquan Thornton. He's one of the few guys who actually does get some separation and get open. It's the guys who are back that haven't been doing it. Even Rashee Rice, after I heard some talk about last week. Is this just still some of the rust? I'm like, rust? Come on.
Yeah,
it's been that long.
Drew Tranquil at the podium. I asked him what the reaction is when the defense has, like, that emergency. They think they're all sitting over there, and it's like, nope, turnover, whatever it is, got to get back out on the field. How do they react to that?
Guys are just kind of grabbing their helmet, and they're like, all right, let's go. It's kind of like a back against the wall, back against the ropes feeling, and so you just kind of rally out there, get out in the huddle, and see if you can come up with a stop.
Which they didn't.
By the way, did you hear that I was still talking?
Yeah.
When he.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Because it was awful, the question.
Oh, was it?
It was like the never-ending story, I was like, what am I, Nate here? Spit it out, dumbass. And so when he started stepping, I'm like, good, thank God.
Thanks.
He's like, enough
I was
of
done
this.
talking.
I know where you're going, fool. Let me just take it from here. That, kind of the thing, you know what I'm saying?
If only everyone in that room had your sense of self-awareness in that regard.
Well, not on that one.
No.
But
I'm saying you'll go, I need to stop doing that.
Oh, God.
There's some people just like, no, I'm sorry, this is what I do.
Well, I just feel like since Frank's not there, I've got to be close to, Vahe. What's Vahe? 100 and a half? How old's Vahe?
90.
So I got Vahe in front of me. Vahe and Blair. I'm like the third oldest guy in the room. Well, how about spit one out?
Yeah.
Act like you've been here before, Tubby. That was all. I could hear it. I could see him looking at me like, Tranquil. Yeah, I enjoyed Tranquil. I think he has really thoughtful answers. Yeah. And whether he means it or not, he's always like, hey, thanks, guys, when he goes out. I don't know if he means it or not, but kind of nice that he makes
Seems
the effort.
That way. Yeah.
But, I could just see him. Because, I'm like, okay, I respect this guy. Like, if some guy, not that there's no one on the team I dislike, but I respect his thoughtfulness and trying to give thoughtful answers. And so it's like, I'm ashamed. Like, it's the worst guy to have a bad question on, There's some other guys, if I'm babbling on, so what? Your answer's going to be 4 seconds and not any good anyway.
Yeah.
But Tranquil might give me something. Like, how about firing out there?
It wasn't as bad as you think it was.
This was a good question, though. I'm proud of this one.
Yes. I am too.
I mentioned they had Xavier Worthy up there. And I think, didn't the whole receiving corps skate afterwards?
I didn't hear any specifics.
Kelsey sat there in his uniform for 10 minutes putting on a show. And then it was like, after everybody waits, it's like, see ya.
Yeah.
And said nothing.
5 words. Y'all have a good night.
Rashi Rice was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, okay, and I thought I had heard that the whole receiving corps
The only
left.
two that it may have been, I knew specifically they mentioned Worthy and Kelsey. The Worthy was gone before the media got in, and Kelsey said no. That was, I think, from Jesse Newell.
Okay. So I asked Worthy, hey, the fans pay good money to come out, put a lot of money in a jersey. Even if they don't come out to the game, they're buying jerseys, they're supporting the team, they're there. I said, do you feel like you have an obligation to talk about the game afterwards so the fan can hear, the fans can hear what you think about the game?
As a player, obviously I don't know from a fan or a fan's mind. As a player, you deal with certain things throughout the game, and it's like you kind of get down on yourself throughout the game. So you kind of, don't want to talk to the media. You can see that as a person when you're mad or you're going through something. You obviously don't want to talk sometimes, but at a professional level, I see from a fan's point, you want to hear about like what's going on and what you think should have happened. So I could see both sides of the thing.
Better answer than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But he did. There was an acknowledgement of I can see why they'd want that, and it seemed like he was kind of feeling may not want to, but I get why they want us to talk. I heard some people. I posted something about that night, and
there's always some fans who are like, like,
they don't owe you an explanation, and you're just bound like we're not asking for us. I'm not, we don't go in the locker room after a game and because I'm curious.
Listen, if I were doing the if Patrick Mahomes were coming out and the press conference were for me, I would be asking him why his Alpine F1 team sucks. That's the question that I'm always sitting there thinking, can I get this in? You're a minority owner on this. Are you going to change drivers? Because I have no obligation. F1 is the funnest thing for me because it's just for me, right? And he's one of the owners. That's what I really want to ask him. So know this. When I find a way to work that in, that was for me.
That was for you.
Okay, that was for me. Short of that, these are all what I think you people want to hear.
Yes, and again, there was like 2 or 3 that were, some of them were nicer than others, but They don't owe you an explanation. The fans don't care about that stuff. You know, I made a post about the money that people spend to sit there and watch that game. One guy's like, no, they do that to watch the game, and the players pay that back by going out and playing. They don't, you know, fans don't care. I'm like, well, then why does every time they lose a game, I've got 10 people in my replies going, you need to ask Andy Reid this, you need to say this, and hold their feet to the fire.
How can I hold their feet to the fire
Yes.
if I can't ever ask them a question?
But clearly fans do want us to ask those questions because they call every Monday and Tuesday, and someone needs to ask so-and-so.
And when they have that tone, when a fan has that tone, they feel like they have given of their time and their treasures to be a part of the game day, and that clearly there's that. You may not agree with these fans, but there are a bunch of fans that feel like when they go out and lay an egg, or even when they have a brilliant performance, part of the gig is to share with the fans what's going on.
And they don't get to ask the players and coaches, so they ask us to do it, and we do it.
Yeah.
And so when he doesn't come out and talk, or he's not there, or Travis Kelce doesn't talk, it isn't, you know, it isn't our ego. You think the players owe you nothing. No, they owe you something. Don't you want to know on a night when there were 10 drops, don't you want to hear from some of the guys who dropped the ball, why they dropped the ball, or what happened?
I think everybody wants to hear what they have to say, even the ones who get, oh, they don't have to. Yeah, but you'd still like to hear it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. If the clip was there, you'd play it.
It's one of the reasons why legalizing monopolies in this country, in certain areas, I won't get into the utilities, would really chap my ass, but the NFL, if you could start a rival league and you had the same talent, and one of your rules was our players talk after the game, you would pay more attention to that game.
Yes.
Because they're the people you want to hear from.
Right.
I appreciate that you give me part of your time and that we at least make enough sense that you listen to us. But if Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce would sit in this studio for 4 hours, or sit in a different studio for 4 hours, you would listen to them. I know, because Travis Kelce's getting $100 million over the next 10 years to do an hour a week. You want to hear from him.
Yeah. And
you're not all listening to that because you don't want to hear from him.
Yes. And it's not much to give back.
No.
Give me 5 minutes. You don't have to sit down and talk to me for half an hour. 5 minutes. Can I ask you a couple questions?
You know who else wants to know? Like Tim Grunhard wants to know.
Yeah.
Trent Green wants to know. All the guys that came before you that are part of that club.
Who stood there every game.
Yeah, and they'd like to hear. But even that they did it, even though the old guard did it and did it a lot more, they too, don't you owe it to them?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, forget about the talk show hosts and the fans. How about the other guys that wore that uniform?
Absolutely.
Bill Moss would like to know what your thoughts are.
Sure.
And I think his blood and sweat and effort, you know, out on that football field warrants, you know, hey, I'd like to hear what the guy, you know, that's my team.
Yep.
I want to hear it. I hope that people realize that it's the city's team. John Sherman gets it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, John Sherman talks about his stewardship of the club, that it's the Kansas City team.
Yeah.
Like, it's your team, people. You're the ones paying for it. Clark Hunt is sucking the money. The Hunt family are doing a fine job owning it, and I have no grudge, but they're the ones sucking the money out of it. You in this town are the ones pouring the money into it. And I'm not even talking about what you're paying in taxes for their fancy coliseum of a home that they play in now and will play in the future.
Yeah.
You're paying for it.
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't expect the people that are making such a wonderful living off your interest and your taxes and your paying for tickets to say something about the game. It's literally the bare minimum.
That's the least you could do.
Hey, Bobby, how was your day at school today? Psh, up the stairs. No parallel. No. Come on back here.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong? What happened? The bare minimum. How was your day? Pretty good, Dad. All right. Got a lot of homework? Not too much. Okay. All right. Good talk. You know, see you at dinner.
Yeah.
You know, like the bare minimum as a human being. Here's the comment.
For sure.
You know, I don't really care if they do or don't. There's a lot of them that, listen, I'm not going to lie. You look on that board and you're like, oh, great.
Yeah. There are days when we see.
There's 4.5 minutes I'm never going to get back. He's been around long enough. Let's be honest. Chris Jones?
Yeah.
Are we getting happy, fun Chris Jones? Or are we getting catatonic moody Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Because catatonic moody, I don't even stick around. I leave because Chris Jones is the one guy who seemingly can't. Patrick Mahomes can always walk in at the time, but they can't line up Chris Jones' schedule.
No.
You don't hear me asking him questions because I ain't waiting.
And there are days,
good, because if you get good Chris Jones, he's great.
yeah. If you don't, it's like,
But you get catatonic moody, just stare at the thing. Like, what is the point? That's 5 minutes of my life I'm not getting back.
I waited 20 minutes for that. And there are Wednesdays where, and today wasn't one of those, but where we'll get the rundown. Reed, Mahomes, blank, blank. And I'll just send back to the text thread. So Reed and Mahomes.
Yeah. I will tell you the other thing. Have you noticed that since Chris Jones has been the defensive guy that comes out every week, his play has dropped? You know, when it was Justin Reed and when it was Tyrann Mathieu, it was almost kind of like a carrot. Like, wait a minute, I'm not the voice of the defense? Well, since he's been the voice of the defense,
Well, the last game wasn't as,
he had his best game. He had a 25% pressure rate because he played the worst offensive line in football.
That helped.
Thanks for coming.
That
I
helped.
think part of it is that incentivized him. He's like, well, I know I got to bring it here because these guys suck.
Could be.
I think that's a little bit of the entitlement that is, and sense of accomplishment.
Sure.
That's there for this team.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about it with Seth Kaiser coming up next. The Chief of the North newsletter author is with us here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
I have a giant man crush on Vinny Pasquantino.
Weekdays from 2 to 6.
playbook falling short? Timeout Consulting is the strategic partner for leaders who refuse to settle. They help you build a high-performance playbook designed to re-energize you and your team and lead your game-winning drive. Visit strongleaderplaybook.com.
Rolling on, talking to the man, the myth, the legend, Seth Kaiser, author of the Chief in the North newsletter, joins us here in the program. Seth, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing very, very well. I'm buried underneath about a foot of snow, but other than that, I'm doing okay.
Ooh, good times, good times. It's what we feel like as Chiefs fans, that we're buried under a foot of snow. You got a great piece on the newsletter, the 6 hard questions the Chiefs need to start asking right now. And we'll get to that in a minute. Let's start with one of the positives. What did you think of Seaboldt? Actually, the positive I'm going to get to being a negative as well. But what did you think of the performance of Seaboldt and the offensive line as a whole when they seemed like going into that game they were completely outgunned?
When you take into account the quality of competition, because he was lined up against Daniel Hunter quite a bit, I thought Collier played extremely well. People are always so quick to call one-off performances elite or dominant. It wasn't that. He doesn't have incredible upper body power, but he's got good feet. He's got a great frame. He uses it well, and he was not a problem throughout the game. And considering, again, the quality of competition he was facing, that is way better than anything you could have possibly even hoped for from a guy with his lack of experience. And so that was really, really encouraging, really great to see. Andy Reid touched on it that, the second time out there, it sounds like he'll probably end up playing again. It's going to be a little tougher because they get a little tape on you. They start to figure out a thing or two. But it was just super encouraging to see.
Yeah, it was. And when you see that, can you explain to me how Wanya Morris was kept over him?
No.
No.
There's just not. I mean, to me, there's theories on it. Morris has played passively in spot starting duty. Like, he's actually a good example of a guy that, when he only had to start a game or two, everyone was like, oh, wow, he did really well. And then, you get a little more film, and then it ends up with Patrick Mahomes screaming it's the same move every time. I guess, for me, it's confusing because I would have been shocked if Wanya Morris had that sort of performance against Daniel Hunter. So the only explanation to me that makes sense would be if that Collier is not playing nearly as well in practice, like he's just not showing out as well, and they were as surprised as anyone, which is a possibility. The Jets let him go too. Or it would be a potential example of the Chiefs valuing understanding the system, fit, scheme, all that stuff, over potentially a higher ceiling guy.
One of the things you have, I mentioned the 6 things they got to be asking themselves right now, is the current way players are selected, developed, and utilized in need of a serious overhaul. What is your conclusion, yes or no?
My conclusion would be yes. There's just too many examples of mystifying decisions in terms of not just who they select, because everyone's going to have hits or misses in the draft. Everyone's going to have hits or misses in free agency. What I don't understand is some of the weirdness we're seeing in terms of how guys are developed and utilized that doesn't seem to completely conform with their best skill set, or times where you see guys who maybe are a little higher ceiling player, a little bit more of a playmaker, don't see as much run as someone who quote-unquote knows the system. Like, if I had a nickel for every time I've heard knows the system over the last 10 years, I'd have a lot of nickels. Now, to be fair, I've seen a lot of Super Bowl wins, too. But that kind of ties into the hubris that I've been talking about for a lot of this year that really, I think, probably I should have been talking about before this year. But, again, when you're winning, flaws get covered up. And so, for me, I mean, there's just so many examples this year, and we see them more because they keep losing, right? Like, that's where they value a certain type of player. And when I say they, I'm mostly talking about Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. I'm of the opinion, and I'm told this is generally correct, that Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo especially tell Brett Veach what types of players they want. They've got specifics, they've got traits, they've got things that they're looking for to plug into their systems, and Brett Veach's job is to go get those guys, right? So I can't hold Veach. I can't say that Veach is a GM with 100% power. You know, Andy can say all he wants, so, well, that's Brett's department. It's his department to go get the things that Andy and Steve are asking for. And so they are looking for very specific things, and unless someone fits a very specific criteria, it just seems like they don't get as much run. And like this year, the examples are borderline numerous, but I mean, just to name a few, when we talk about development and utilization. When we look at the way Xavier Worthy's not utilized on legitimate intermediate routes consistently. And by legitimate routes, I mean man coverage beaters. I mean, little corner posts, just whatever. Anything at the intermediate level, kind of Hollywood Brown's bread and butter throughout his career. Oh, by the way, also, Hollywood Brown's lack of usage that way, even though that's what he's been at his best. The lack of Tyquan Thornton in the offense after he showed that he really could be a guy that could legitimately take the top off of defenses, allow them to do things differently. The insistence of using Shamari Connor as a slot defender, the maddening game of musical chairs with Noel Williams, the consistent usage of Nick Bolton, who's a player that I really like, that is asked to do things at times that he can't do. The seeming refusal to accept that Isaiah Pacheco is not a guy who's running particularly well out of shotgun at this point in his career, and still insisting on utilizing him that way. There's just the calling up Travis Kelce's number on a play designed to get him isolated in the middle of the field against a very, very good man coverage linebacker when he's shown this year that's not who he is anymore. Those things, the utilization of players, the development of players, even if you look at like the way Rashee Rice is utilized now, it hasn't been on an upward trend in terms of diversifying what you're asking him to do. They've got to figure out what it is that keeps making these weird things happen in terms of decision making. That's a mouthful, but I honestly think that might be the second biggest issue this team has.
Is the weird things?
The weird things in the sense of, like, again, not utilizing Tyquan Thornton.
Right.
Just bizarre decisions that don't make sense. Well, we have Noel Williams. We could use him on the boundary and call more man stuff. But instead, we're not going to.
Right.
And I don't know why.
Yeah, and I think, to me, the way I've been putting it is, like, if you want the Chiefs to be as much as they can possibly be in 27 and beyond, they need to lose now. Right? It needs to underscore that there are problems. Because if they would, let's say they win their next 4, all of them one-score games, and so they start getting excited that we're winning the one-score games, but none of them dominant, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's an ugly, 20-13 win over the Titans and a 17-6 win over the Raiders, and then they find a way to win the other two, the Broncos and the Chargers. And because then they can tell themselves, no, that this is who we are. We're good. Keep it going. Because you're right. Like everybody makes mistakes. Even when you're number one, you make mistakes, but you don't have to account for them. You get to explain them away. Because like you said, hey, we've been watching Super Bowls. Who are we to sit here and be like, really this idea of drafting these guys and not playing them for a year is kind of a waste, right? Like that's one of the things. Like the Noel Williams deal. Tweak the scheme to fit Noel Williams. He can clearly play. They lost Trent McDuffie right out of the gate. They lost Wanya Morris and Trent McDuffie. They're two very different players I recognize on the scale of how important they are. But both of them, you're like, okay, well, I guess we're going to see if this Seaboldt can play. Well, he can. And then, like, Trent McDuffie, how are we going to live without Trent McDuffie? They did. And they even thrived at moments. Yet, like, you haven't put people on the field. Like, the one time, and you've even got a history, in 22, They seemingly burnt the boats. They arrived on the shore and said, you have nothing but young defensive backs, Steve. Make it work. And they did. And yet, since then, you draft Bassa. Can he play? Oh, I don't know. It looked pretty good in preseason at times, but he doesn't play. Leo Chenal didn't play his whole first year that year. Like it's like, what are we doing here? Well, now you empower, I think, Brett Veach to be like, listen, we're going, and I'm with you. I do think they draft the guys that the coaches want. I got you the guy you wanted. Like, we could have used a running back over there, but I got you Bassa because he's the guy. Get him on the field, right? Noel Williams, like, he was the last good corner out there. Well, I got him for you, so put him on the field. Like, I think that empowers Brett Veach to go tell him, do this now, doesn't it?
Well, I will say maybe it could, but it never will, because Andy Reid is going to be at the top of the football hierarchy in that organization. That's how it's going to be. And so I think what they would almost have to do, because I don't necessarily like GMs meddling in who plays and who doesn't,
right.
But what I would like to see, and this is where I'm probably chasing windmills here, because I'm talking about a couple of the most successful coaches in NFL history who have been doing things a very specific way for a very long time. I want to see growth from Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo to imagine a world in which the system isn't the end-all, be-all. Let the system be 80%, right? They both have shown through incredible Hall of Fame careers. I mean, we just watched Spags do some crazy stuff against Houston, right? We watched him do some crazy stuff against Indy. Dallas, well, let's not talk about that. But he's clearly got a great system. However, stuff comes at the expense of talent comes at the expense of the system at times, where it's like, oh, no, I need 260-pound defensive ends who have a certain amount of power because we got to start off against the run. Well, then you never end up with anyone who can turn better than a battleship, and your ceiling is George Karlaftis, a fine player, but, and you and I talked about this last week, if he is the second best pass rusher and your first best isn't the best in the league, you have problems, and then that results in having to blitz too much, and that results in blitzes not being as effective. It's exactly what we've seen this year. So the system becomes this end-all, be-all, rather than a way that's utilized to make the talent you have successful. And that's why you end up with Mike Edwards playing, 35 snaps, give or take, and Jaden Hicks is still struggling to get on the field because, he just hasn't learned the system as well as we'd like. Well, then you got to be willing to simplify at times. Mm-hmm. And that's where the system seems to be the end-all, be-all. And it's the same thing with their selection of wide receivers. They've had some good ones, but they put a cap on themselves in certain ways in terms of looking for very specific traits.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to put it. We're talking to Seth Kaiser here in the program. I said earlier, going back to, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, where you wrote about they don't stunt, and just watching how often they still, just kind of, I called it duck, duck, goose earlier today. They just kind of let Chris Jones wander along and decide, okay, here's where I'm going to go from. Part of the reason they don't stunt is because, we don't ever know where Chris Jones is going to. We literally leave it up to him. Like, well, what do you have coaches for? Like, aren't you the one who's supposed to be like, this is the mismatch, Chris. You're going against this guy. This is where we can beat them. You're here. And if you know where Chris Jones is, then you can stunt the other side. But part of the reason they can't stunt, which you did a great job with the film a couple of weeks ago, showing, like, here it is being effective. Well, if you don't know where he's coming from, you don't know what two other guys you can stunt with. And so that drives me crazy. It's like you're counting on Chris Jones to win one-on-one or create a double team, and then you need secondarily somebody else to win one-on-one there, and you're proving all year you can't do it, yet you're still doing the same thing.
Absolutely. Trying that same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And it is, there is something to be said for letting guys hunt mismatches at times. And it's when you start to try to build the whole plane out of certain things is where I think they start to run into trouble. Like, an easy example is mesh is a perfectly fine play call to beat man coverage. In fact, it's one of the best. But when you're building the whole plane out of mesh, that's just not going to be effective because there's answers to that. And so that's where there's just a certain amount of stubbornness that goes into this. But I really see it the most with the way players are utilized in terms of, no, this is how we do things. This is how we want to run things. And so we have to have, player X, Y, and Z out there doing it. And again, like the things with Chamari Connor and Tyquan Thornton and the lack of under center usage this year, like certain things, it's just like, man, these are things that everyone can see as a problem. And yet we're not doing it that way. And that's where it's figuring out you got to stop looking for specific traits and having the system be above all else and have a little flexibility there. Like, okay, this guy's not quite as brainy as we like, but man, can he run. Man, he might miss an assignment every now and then. But, I wonder what difference a Willie Gay Jr. would have made this year. A guy that, sure, might miss an assignment every now and then because he would. But you know what he also did a couple times a game? Wrecked a play because he can move better than anyone else. You got to be able to have some kind of compromise of both styles there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And my hope is that if they struggle, that Andy Reid, his competitive nature will be like, okay, I've got to fix the problems. Like, it always goes south when the longtime great coach, when their careers end, it's because they start to believe that because they say it, it's true. I call it believing your own BS and not looking for what is the real truth. And so I also don't think, and one of your questions is what does the post-Kelsey Jones era look like? If it finishes out 8-9, 9-8, there's no way. Like, they pretty much, Drew Tranquil said earlier today to me that every team is new. Well, there are new pieces. Yes, you have a draft and there are new pieces. But there's as little turnover as you could possibly have on this team from last year. There has to be much more turnover. Turnover on the roster and probably turnover on the coaching staff, or we do run the risk that Andy Reid and his staff are starting to buy their own BS. Would you agree with that look from here?
I absolutely would. There are plenty of guys in the room in terms of players that are solutions. There are plenty of guys who I think could be utilized better, et cetera. But they've got to take a long, hard look at the wide receiver room. And you and I have talked about this, it's so easy for fans to just like, oh, that position coach must stink. Well, that's tough to say. I will say when you look at the way receivers are running routes and lack of development as of now, Rashee Rice kind of stagnating too now. And Worthy, who started to develop, but he's been playing hurt, but still, I think you look at that. You look at, the way that they're doing things along the defensive line. You're looking at the way that it's so predictable in terms of the run game. I think the coaching staff desperately needs an infusion of new ideas. And Andy Reid has shown throughout his career he can infuse new ideas into his system and make it great. But they've got to actually do it and actually give them a voice. And I agree with you that they really did kind of try to run it back after a season last year. And this is why everyone will say, oh, after one bad season, everyone's jumping ship. The reality is I think this year's team is probably on paper a slightly better team than last year's team. It's just not nearly as lucky. And that's what we're seeing right now playing out in real time. If just in a weird sport where the ball doesn't round, it bounced a few different ways. So this isn't a one-year issue. This has been a multi-year issue.
Yeah, no, I agree. We're talking with Seth Kaiser, does a fantastic job breaking things down. His Chief in the North newsletter, a must-read if you are a Chiefs fan. Let's get to our Final Four with Seth. Seth, I'll start you with this. Let's just get your prediction on this Chiefs-Chargers game. What kind of score are you feeling? How do you think the game goes?
Just because it would be like the funniest possible outcome. Chiefs 38, Chargers 17.
I like it. I do actually think
it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I actually think there may be an Unleash the Fury moment. Like if they start getting the upper hand on it, they're going to take out some frustrations. I think that could happen. So then, what do you think the final record is?
I think they win 2 more and lose 2 more.
Okay.
So I don't even remember what that would do at this point. It's because they're 6 and 7. So then what they'd be 8 and 9.
8 and 9. Got you down for 8 and 9. Is there an elf on the shelf in your house?
There is not an elf on the shelf in our house. The kids have watched a few really funny sketches about those being scary, so I don't know if I'll try that.
I absolutely love the Melissa McCarthy and Kevin Hart commercials with them as the elf on the shelf. I think it's kind of spooky looking with their heads on there, but I think they're absolutely fantastic. All right, tell me then, what's your favorite Christmas carol?
I'm big on "Oh Holy Night," which is really tough to sing as a carol.
Is it really? I don't sing, so
it's not exactly Jingle Bells.
Really, is that right?
It's just it's not really a sing-along song.
It's a tough one to hit. It's got a lot of lows and a lot of highs.
Okay. Well, so he likes the the ones that you got to really be an artist to perform. So that's good to know.
Range.
Yeah, it's shocking. Seth Kaiser's high maintenance. There it is. We just figured it out there. Seth, you're the man. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. We'll talk again next week.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
All right, there you go. Seth Kaiser. Great job breaking down the Kansas City Chiefs. Read his Chief in the North newsletter. He does a fantastic job. We will take a break, come back, wrap up this edition with the program with a little kicker. We'll give you the kicker, the final thing you need to know. You don't want to miss it. I don't know what it is. We'll figure it out during the break, but you're not going to want to miss it.
But first, Nick and Jake's Into the Hour answer. How many players have been the number 1 overall pick by the Dallas Mavericks?
Number, like a 1-1?
Been the 1-1. Number 1 overall pick.
I can't think of any off the top of my head. Mark Aguirre, maybe?
Mark Aguirre. It was 66 today.
Is that it?
Nope.
Oh. Don't know. Dirk wasn't.
Cooper Flagg.
Oh, duh. This year. Crying out loud. That's awful.
6 months ago.
2, Mark Aguirre and Cooper Flagg.
Yep.
And then they fired the general manager.
Yep.
I think
who then went on to be a wide receiver for the Texans.
Not really, but
I had him there.
Kind of looked that way. I say boo to the NFL. Adam Schefter is reporting that they're going to cut the time between picks in the first round of the NFL draft down to 8 minutes. Why? You can't get the pick announced.
Yeah.
As it is right now with 10 minutes.
Right.
Before Twitter's already 3 picks down the road. So, like, now we're basically going to be like, okay, with the 17th pick, while Twitter's already put out who's 22.
Second round has already gone.
What is the hurry? Where do we have to be?
I don't know.
You like it, you lazy ass.
7-minute first round.
You just want to get out of here quicker on our draft show.
I don't mind.
I want more time. I want more trades. It gets harder to make a trade now.
True.
I hate it.
I think it used
Absolutely
to be 15 is insane.
I wish it was still 15.
I do not.
15-minute quarters. 15's a number in football.
It is.
8 minutes. Just depriving me of more football.